All right. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Torn Tuesday, your weekly dose of all things Lord of the Rings. We've been doing this show for over 12 years. The OneRing.net is, of course, shortened to Torn. And this is a wonderful community that is, as of a few weeks ago, is celebrating its 25th anniversary of existence, of bringing fans all the leaks, scoops, rumors, official stuff, unofficial stuff, trailer reviews, trailer breakdowns, breaking news, everything like that. Torn Tuesday is just one part of a whole operation of volunteer fans that have all raised their hand over the years to help moderate discords and moderate message boards and post articles on the website. And some of the folks are still active today. Shout out to Demosthenes and Green Dragon for being very active on the posting today. And of course, the OneRing.net is and always has been a not-for-profit website. Every extra dollar, the minimal that we earn through limited ads and sponsorships, supports children's literacy charities, and we are so proud to continue to do that after 25 years. But today we have a giant show for you. Giant show. There has been so much news in the last 7 days. I hardly recognize the world that we live in today versus the show we did last Tuesday, celebrating the life and legacy of Bernard Hill. That was an amazing conversation with Sean Astin, Jed Brophy, Bruce Hopkins, Mark Ordesky, Viggo Mortensen, everybody that participated in last week's tribute, and all the fans who sent in voicemails. You were heard, you are loved, and we all love Bernard Hill. But today is a whole new thing because we've got new news from Warner Brothers. We got new news from the gaming company Embracer that owns the rights. We got new news from Andy Serkis. And then today, late breaking, we finally got trailers and BTS and a whole lot of info about Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power Season 2, including a release date. We've got so much to go over. We're going to start with welcoming your host with the most, Mr. Clifford Broadway. Hello, Cliff.
Well, hello there. Hello to the entire worldwide audience. Great to have you back with us in our little corner of our community. This is Torn Tuesday, live streaming, coming to you from Los Angeles, California. And you're way out there in the high desert plateau, somewhere out there in the desert. But we have quite a lot of news. Yes, I mean, last week was emotionally difficult for everybody. But now we have, obviously, the greatest uplift in our energy with all the news that's been coming out and the really exciting teaser trailer that showed up at 6:30 Pacific time this morning from Prime Video, and unbelievably cool news from Andy Serkis, Peter Jackson, Fran Walsh, and Philippa Boyens, who are working over there at New Line, part of Warner Brothers Discovery. And just as our buddy here, Justin, was explaining to you, we've got lots of coverage and analysis of the news. Oh my goodness, the hunt for Gollum. And there's a conversation about that. And we have to talk about the new trailer for The Rings of Power Season 2. How about that date? First thing I want to mention is I'm so surprised and kind of thrilled that August 29th, right, is our date. I thought that this show was going to be later, much later in the year, delayed and delayed and delayed, but I'm so glad to be wrong. And when I'm wrong, I own it. I want to own it. For a long time, we even chatted about a Rondir being played by Ismael Cruz Cordova, that he was not going to come back and not even show up in season 2. Boy, am I happy to be wrong. I'm so happy to be wrong about that. Rondir is back, the coolest elf, and some really cool images on that show. Oh, look, I got fireworks because I did a double thumbs up. The Zoom has built-in weird things that happen on your screen every time you do a thumbs down or a thumbs up or something stupid. So now I understand where all the balloons have been coming from. But where should we start? With such a big, big, big list of news, I wonder where we should begin. What do you think, Justin? Where should we start?
Well, I'll tell you exactly where to start.
Hmm.
I am turning off all studio effects, so we don't get thumbs up, thumbs downs,
And
and
those these fireworks?
or you know what, you know what, keep it on, because we'll use that
It's
later
funny.
when we do a full trailer breakdown. So I think. For this first hour, we've got so much news to go over. And then in
Yeah,
the
let's do
second
it quick.
hour
We've got
at
news.
6 p.m. Pacific, at 9 p.m. Eastern, we've got an all-star panel of fans and experts to pour through the amazing new trailer for Rings of Power. So we'll
Hmm.
get to that in the second hour of the show. The first hour of the show, Cliff, I guess let's just start with a big celebration.
Oh, yes.
Birthday. Happy birthday. And you guys aren't going to believe this. Today is the 55th birthday of your queen, Kate Blanchett.
Oh my gosh, we are the exact same age now. Oh my gosh, that is so amazing. Happy birthday, Kate Blanchett. Wishing you the very best. This is your birthday song. It isn't very long.
What?
There you go. That's it's a it's a song that I've heard at Scum and Villainy Cantina a million times when they do karaoke night and they sing, "This is your birthday song. It isn't very long." And that's it.
Okay.
So, anyways, happy birthday to Kate Blanchett. I believe that she has a magic portrait in her attic absorbing her age, really. And I don't think a little bit of an Oscar Wilde reference would be lost on our audience. Probably not. But many happy returns, Kate Blanchett, many, many happy returns. You are the one person who remains to autograph my copy of The Lord of the Rings hardcover. Everybody else signed it, from Peter Jackson all the way down, including everyone, I mean, everyone from Weta, Carl Urban, Sala Baker, Howard Shore, everybody autographed my book, but not you, Kate. So let's have coffee. Let's have a coffee date. I promise I'll bring a nice Sharpie and you can sign my book for me, my dear. And I wish you a happy birthday. Coffee's on me. I'll buy it. Don't worry about that. Don't worry
Uh,
about it, Kate.
Kate
Don't worry about it, Kate.
Blanchett.
The coffee's on me.
Kate Blanchett has had a
Funny.
wonderfully successful career post Lord of the Rings. She had a wonderfully
Oh,
successful
wild.
career pre
Yeah,
Lord
her
of the
career
Rings.
has been wild.
Playing Elizabeth, not the queen that just died, but the Elizabeth the First. No, second, I believe. No.
Yes.
And
Which one?
of course she played Hera in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, who I don't
Hela.
believe is dead. Hela.
Not Hera. Hera is from mythology. Hela is from
different
the other mythology.
franchise.
That's different. Yes. Not Clash of the Titans. You're thinking Hela. Okay.
And of course, she joined. And of course, she joined Peter Jackson on his second excursion to Middle Earth with the Hobbit movies. And she looked just as stunning as ever 15 years after the fact. And here we are now, nearly 15 years after The Hobbit filmed. And I
Wow.
believe
Can you
that
believe it?
she can totally reprise her role as Galadriel. Because she is just an amazing person and performer. And you might be right. There might be a magic mirror somewhere. So,
A magic portrait. Dorian Gray. Okay. Never
That's
mind,
right.
Justin.
well,
Okay.
so
yeah,
I
big
guess
news.
jump into this, Cliff. The big news. Let's just start from the top from
We
last
have to.
week.
There's such big news. Okay, here it is. From Daily Variety, Warner Brothers to release new Lord of the Rings movie, The Hunt for Gollum, in 2026, which is barely a year and a half away. And that means, whoa, how far down the road of pre-production are they already? I mean, they must be way down the process of pre-production and pre-visualization to have a release date that's only a year and a half away.
Said they're in script phase, Cliff.
If they're in script phase, then
Yeah.
that means, yeah, hey, hello there, Matt. It's good to have you
Hey,
here,
Cliff.
Matt.
Whoa,
Sorry.
what just
Sorry
happened
to-
here?
It's
Sorry
Matt,
to
nerd of
jump
the
in.
rings.
Sorry
I
to
love
jump in and crash your
Please do.
party.
No,
I just don't want you
crash.
to get your facts wrong and misinform these people. They did
Do you
say
even-
that they're in the
I'm-
store breaking the story is what
They're breaking the story now,
Yeah, yeah.
but I guarantee you, if I don't know my salt from the earth, that they're probably got some artists doing some previs
probably. Yeah.
for some sequences, or but you're right. If they're just breaking down the script and starting the writing,
yeah.
it's still, to me, in my mind, considering how much time they took doing larger scale trilogies and shooting all three films at the same time, to me it seems like a very quick schedule
It
release date.
does. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that too, and the more I thought about it, kind of where I think Justin was on my stream we talked for like 3 hours about
first
this
off,
news.
First off, no one texts me at 5:30 a.m.
I do, apparently.
This is the first time.
That's 8:30 here, man. Gotta get
This
up
is the
with
first
the sun.
time I've been texted at 5:30 in the morning for something that for a reason, a Gollum reason.
There you go.
That's so funny.
But
You
yeah,
guys-
so when Justin and I were talking, we kind of talked this through a bit, and I think it appears to me like they're telling a smaller scale story than the big epics that they've historically done, which I can kind of see that happening on a tighter timeline. Like I would be much more if the announcement had been we're doing a War of Angmar movie and it's coming out in 2026, I would have thought, oh crap, that's really close. But something like this, that's maybe a smaller, more character-driven piece, that's following Aragorn through the wilderness, and there's fewer big-scale things to be shot and to happen. Maybe that's doable.
That's a consideration I didn't think of, and you're quite right. If there's no Battle of Helm's Deep, and there's no, Battle of the Pelennor fields, then at what scale are they going to make this film?
Yeah.
And let's take a moment and talk about the director, who was announced as Andy Serkis. He's the man. He is Caesar from the Planet of the Apes films. He is the king of motion capture. He is Gollum and Smeagol, and he's actually very accomplished because he cut his teeth as second unit director on the Hobbit trilogy 15 years ago. When I was embedded on set watching the Tauriel fight scenes outside the Watergate, outside of the Woodland Realms halls, the barrels were being collected at the Watergate, and the gate was closed, and the orcs were coming to attack. Here comes Orlando Bloom and Tauriel fighting the orcs, and who was directing the whole thing? From the top down, second unit director Andy Serkis was in charge. He was living large. He was doing the whole thing, and he cut his teeth on being a director and became so skilled at it. He went on and did this remarkable and very powerful Jungle Book adaptation called Mowgli, which was dark and rather violent. It was rather cool, though. But
it's better than the Disney one, in my opinion.
Oh, wait,
the Disney
way
live
better.
action
Way
one.
better.
I liked Mowgli much better. Yeah.
But in terms of, he's not very experienced, nobody can say that. I just want to get that point out the door. Andy Serkis has a great deal of directing experience, and he's really accomplished so far with what he's done. So I'm really happy that he's going to helm this entire film. And this gives Peter a break. Peter's all up to his eyeballs in Beatles stuff now, so he doesn't want to direct. So it's really nice that Andy gets to step up to plate.
And let me just bring this up on screen here. Andy posted this on Instagram, this selfie with Gollum, and he says, "We is back, precious. Hashtag the hunt for Gollum. Hashtag working title. Selfie by us. Selfie by us." really seals the deal. And of course, you guys have really supported Andy in his recent audiobook version.
Yeah.
Have you guys heard Andy's
Oh, heck
audiobooks?
yeah. They're fantastic.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, they're the
I love
best.
them. Yeah.
The best. You know, I mean, I'm envious. That was a job as a voiceover guy that I would have loved wandering into that arena, but bless his heart, I couldn't have done what he did. Really.
He's so
So
good at performing the books too. Like,
Hmm.
there's different
Yes.
styles, and people will, I listen to a ton of audiobooks, and I can appreciate both styles, but I kind of gravitate toward audiobook readers who perform the books rather than read the books. There's a
Mhm.
charm to both, but I like that he really gets into every single character, which is awesome.
and Matt, not only can you listen to Andy Serkis read the books, but don't we have a friend that made music to accompany that version of the audiobook?
Oh yeah, Jordan with long expected soundscape. There we go.
Yes.
Yeah, he
Jordan.
made some awesome soundscapes and they're even good to just like put on in the background and stuff. I might actually play
he
some
made them
for some
to
streams, but yeah,
sync up.
yeah,
So,
they're synced up. Yeah, to the he did it to the Andy Serkis ones where you can play them at the same time and they match up and they have all this ambient, you know, sound effects and everything that he's recorded. And I've heard he's working on some other non-Middle Earth books as well, because he's done a lot of the Middle Earth books, but he's working on Harry Potter, I know, is one as well.
oh wow, that's
Cool.
great.
Yeah, so
I
he's
do not-
expanding.
I'm gonna switch the boxes here because I don't want to be up top. Hey, there we go. You can cover my face with the chat. Before we move on, I want to ask you guys: can I be the devil's advocate here on this
Well,
conversation?
you often do. You often do. So
That's-
go ahead.
Well, allow me this question for
Sure.
you guys. We all know the immediate fan reaction and reviews to the Hobbit movies that Andy famously second unit directed. And I think we all familiar with the reviews of Andy's directorial feature Venom 2,
Yeah.
Boogaloo, Electric Boogaloo. So
Electric Boogaloo. From
no, it's
Venom
called There
2.
Will Be Carnage.
Yes.
Both received tepid reviews, and that is the safest way of saying it. So, how am I?
Does anybody honestly turn on a Venom movie to like get peak cinema though? I mean, like,
look. That's what.
I mean,
That's
I
what.
think
That's what I want to know.
fun. They're fun films and stuff, but I don't think
How
I don't think
with Lord of the
necessarily-
Rings,
yeah.
everyone's been talking about how Lord of the Rings movies and TV shows deserve the highest bar possible because Peter put the bar that high, winning record number of Oscars. But then we got the Hobbit movies, the Hobbit trilogy, that and then Andy directed. So how am I, as a casual fan, how am I supposed to get excited for Andy directing a Gollum movie when does Gollum deserve his own movie? And like,
Yes.
I know Andy loves the character, but his other movie, like, it's Venom, and it wasn't, the Rotten Tomatoes isn't great on it.
I
Yeah.
don't care about Rotten Tomatoes. Mowgli is an outstanding film. It's outstanding. It is excellent, character driven. It has a lot of heart. It's very powerful. I can't say anything about Venom 2, except it was a diversion, mildly entertaining. And I would say it was like a piece of chocolate cake. You're like, oh, yum. While you're eating it, that's good cake. But when you're done, you think to yourself, oh, maybe I shouldn't have done that. That's how I feel about the Venom 2 movie. Okay? That's about it.
And so, on the topic of Gollum, does Gollum deserve his own movie? I think what a lot of people are overlooking is that the focus of the title Hunt for Gollum is not Gollum, it's Hunt. It's about the hunt. which leads me to believe that, yeah, Gollum will probably prominently feature in this film, I have no doubt. But I would not be at all surprised if this is more of an Aragorn movie. That's purely a guess.
Well,
But
that's what
I
Tolkien
don't think
Wonder
it's
in
a
the chat
fun.
room just said. It said it will be more about Aragorn and Rangers. But
See, that's what I think too. I just don't see, Gollum. He's one of those characters I feel like works great as a secondary character, kind of like, um, you know, for different reasons. But someone like, I've argued that Galadriel makes a better secondary character because she's pretty OP, rather than a primary character. And I think for different reasons, Gollum might not be the best. He's if you
so
get
you're
too much
proving
of
my
him,
point.
if you get
The
too
hunt for
much of him,
Gollum is kind of a turnoff. He's not supposed to have his
no,
own movie.
but I don't think it is his own movie. Like he's not. I don't think he's gonna be the center of the movie for the entire duration of the film.
All right, can you guys
I
explain to
think
me
it's gonna
what
be
other
about the hunt.
characters are going to be? in
Aragorn, man, Aragorn.
There's a lot of tweets and a lot of commentary on a lot of posts online with people actually questioning the veracity, not the veracity, but
Forget the
questioning
tweets. I'm asking you right now.
I'm telling you that I
questioning
don't
the
agree with
veracity.
I don't agree with all those takes.
So,
I'm just saying,
tell me your
I
take.
do not
Why
agree
should
with
I
all
be
those
hype
takes.
about this? And what characters are in it that can get me hype?
I think that Matt has already dialed in very carefully and astutely that this is not about Gollum, it's about the hunt for him. This involves Saruman, younger Aragorn, which we've been talking about for years and years. There'll be Gandalf. There will be probably Hugo Weaving in Imladris, because there's a lot of connecting tissue, a lot of connecting tissue. Ultimately, there's even Shelob. There's even going to be, an encounter with Sauron torturing Gollum face to face. So, I mean, there's so much other stuff going on. But when people say, does this hunt for Gollum is it sufficient? Like maybe a couple of paragraphs, 3 paragraphs in the appendix. Is it sufficient? Can you get a whole feature movie out of it with enough of a compelling storyline? Well, that is the challenge on the screenwriters right now. And I think Philippa and Fran can crack that puzzle. If anybody can, they can. And thank you, Mr. Astute, Mr. Nerd of the Rings, for, your instincts are so correct. And I hate to be redundant, but the emphasis here, to everyone's, energetic surprise, is going to be a younger Aragorn storyline that we've been barking out loud for years and years was going to happen. We even originally speculated that the Rings of Power was not going to be the Rings of Power. We ordered up a bunch of rumors and we thought, oh, this is going to be the young Aragorn TV show.
And those rumors were validated 5 years later.
Those rumors were validated.
When the Russo brothers, famous for the Avengers Endgame movie, said, that's the movie. We pitched young Aragorn. So those rumors were true, but Amazon went in a different direction.
Right. So now you get to pitch young Aragorn and wrap it all up into a Gollum movie, right?
Potentially. Yeah. I mean, it depends on, how much do they want to pull on that thread of the young Aragorn story. They could work in quite a bit of young Aragorn story, or, maybe that's something that they
Aragorn's
save for a
not
different...
that much younger during the hunt for Gollum.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Not that much younger, like 10 years, 15? That's not young Aragorn. That's not Aragorn going to Thorongil stuff,
Right. I hear the voice of Demos.
Aragorn.
Hello, Demosthenes, and you're right. You're right. He's not that much younger. He maybe 10 or 15 years. So wait a minute. Does that mean the next obvious question? Are they bringing Viggo back, or someone else they'd recast?
Unless somebody breaks Viggo's leg, what would stop him from doing it?
He looks the part. I just saw him here in Los Angeles a couple weeks ago. He's fit as a fiddle. He looks great. He eats healthy. You put a wig on him, an Aragorn wig on him, like he wore last time. He wore a wig during the original movies. You put a wig on him again, I'm telling you, Viggo walks right onto set and you wouldn't even know.
Do it. But yeah, and I also think,
I
one
think
thing
it would
that
be
gets...
a turn-off if you didn't have the original cast as much as possible. El Vigo seems easy. Ian McKellen might be harder because he's a lot older, and
Yeah,
getting to do the
true.
physical
Well,
stuff might be
let's
tricky.
ask an expert in the room. Matt, you just saw Ian McKellen 2 weeks ago,
dude. Yeah.
Is he sprightly enough to pull off?
He seems ready and raring to go. I think he would continue to make an excellent Gandalf. And I mean,
would he travel to New Zealand for it?
This is something that I think a lot of people are overlooking. They're like, "Oh gosh, he's 84 years old." Where it's like, guys, he is performing on the West End 6 nights a week right now in a 3.5-hour play.
Wow.
And like, the dude is a ball of energy up there. Like, I've never seen an 84-year-old, as active and as with it as he is. Like, the guy, if the guy wants to come back and play Gandalf, you should 100% bring him on board as soon as humanly possible.
And to Demosthenes' point, and welcome to the show, audio only. Chime in whenever. But can he support traveling all the way to New Zealand to do it? And my response to that is, look at Christopher Lee. They shot all of Christopher Lee's scenes in London, so they could just do that for Ian this time.
But Chris Lee didn't have a lot of scenes for.
And I don't know if Gandalf would necessarily have to have a lot of scenes for this, honestly. Like, I could see this being him sending Aragorn on this quest more so than Gandalf being on it. I guess it depends on, how much they're wanting him to do.
Well, Cliff just got done saying that Saruman would play a role in Hunt for Gollum. Guys, you're forest through the trees. You're bearing the lead. Who the heck plays Saruman?
That's
I don't know if you have to have him.
It's a very good question. I don't think you have
to have him either.
Yeah, I think you probably. Yeah.
No, I don't think it's essential.
No.
Well, I think it would
which
be
would allow them
great.
to dodge that.
Well, I mean, if he's out there looking around the Gladden fields, and if Saruman is sending his orcs on hunting patrols, hunting for evidence of where the ring was lost, where Isildur was shot at the riverbank, I'm really, really wondering that it would be useful. I honestly, I hate to be, a contrarian to everyone on the show. That's usually Justin's job to be the contrarian. But I've got to say that I think it's a delightful opportunity that they're hunting for Gollum and the information that Gollum has at the same time that Saruman is hunting for more information to make his own rings. And he's tinkering in ring craft himself. So
you gave me a different idea, Cliff.
Yeah.
So, hunt for Gollum. But who's hunting for Gollum? What if Saruman was also hunting for Gollum?
Yes, there you go. There you go. There's probably multiple people. There's Sauron's forces.
I think Sauron,
Yeah, Aragorn is being sent as a ranger. Let's just call him Strider, because the whole movie he's going to be Strider only. All right, let's do that. Let's just do that right now.
Why is the chat room telling me that Thranduil plays a role? Because you tell me Lee Pace comes back as Thranduil, I'm there day zero. I'm in line 2 weeks before.
That was the first thing I tweeted. Thranduil will be there because we'll spend a great deal of time in the woodland realm, in Mirkwood. And I do appreciate all the Charles Dance footage that you were giving us, Justin. Yes, I think Charles Dance could quite possibly come in as Saruman. Quite possibly. That's a good casting choice. I like that. And yeah, Lee Pace. Let's negotiate him and make sure he can also be there, because the Wood Elves cooperated for a time and held Gollum captive for a time.
There's a big fear in fandom that we've been dealing with since Middle Earth Enterprises went up for sale 2 years ago, which is or nearly 3 years ago now, which is this Lord of the Rings is just going to get exploited and they're going to overmake stuff. Was this announcement music to all of your guys' ears? Like, are you happy, satisfied, and excited that they're gonna that this is the first movie that they're pursuing?
Who goes first? You go
You
first, or
do.
I go? Oh,
You
I
do.
do. Okay.
Go ahead, please.
Um, well, it wasn't the one that I expected. I fully admit that. I think Justin, you saw me kind of working through my thought process live on on our stream
I
when
was
we were
sick.
chatting on
It
my
was
channel.
5:30 in the morning. I don't remember anything that I
Oh,
said or
okay,
you
fair enough.
said.
Fair enough. Yeah, so it was not, I don't think it was the obvious choice, which I don't think is a bad thing. I really look at this and think that they're setting out to tell a smaller story, um, potentially a safer one, less risky in the sense of putting a big budget on it. Like I don't think this is going to be a massive budget movie. So it kind of sets them up for an easier win, I think. So presumably this will be if the story is solid and, it doesn't have this massive budget, it doesn't need as much to be a success. Um,
Hmm.
I like if they had gone out and announced like 6 films, I would have been worried about the whole, milking of the franchise thing. But I mean, they're talking about, they've got War of the Rohirrim this year. They've got another one coming in, you know, late 2026, so 2 years apart. That doesn't seem crazy to me.
It feels like a character film, and I like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Agreed.
Where
Agreed with
where
that.
something big budget would have turned me off.
And don't get me
Well,
wrong, I'm all on board for an eventual big budget film.
I'm
Like
not.
like
Sorry,
that
I'm
Angmar
not.
War, like, oh man, come on. Angmar War could be pretty legit.
I appreciate what you guys are saying, but we know how penny pinching and horrible Warner Brothers Discovery has been behaving lately. And I mean penny pinching in a stupid way because they're still giving David Zaslav big annual bonuses as CEO.
In other departments, let me just be clear,
Okay,
they have given the
fine,
full support behind Lord of the
fine.
Rings, and I
I
promise
get a
you,
feeling that because this movie might be cheaper to make because there is no massive Battle of the Pelennor, and because it's a smaller scale film, and we do appreciate that it might just be Middle Earth and the characters in Middle Earth instead of the film needing to lynch itself on the success of a massive, battle scene.
But
I think they've made the movie more affordable to make by doing it this way.
wouldn't you still have to FX Andy Serkis all the way through?
Mhm.
Unless you put him in a rubber suit and do the
Mm.
Godzilla.
well,
But you
Yeah.
have to FX, and that will cost money, right?
Oh,
not
for
as
sure.
much,
You're right.
not as
But-
much
but
anymore
not-
because
Yeah.
a lot of news, a lot of people have recognized that the Planet of the Apes movie that did gangbusters this weekend looks better than most CGI features. All of the Planet of the Apes movies, which Andy Serkis starred in, except for this new one, they've
Done by Weta FX.
Yep, Weta has figured out
buddy.
how to do it cost effectively. So there is a point to there is a point to say
Maybe
you
that's
know-
why.
Oh yeah, you might
Maybe
be
that's
right.
why they chose it.
Ah, there you go. Demosthenes, you're on it. You are on point. I love it. I love it. It all fits now. It all fits. Warner Brothers wants to be, the skinflint studio that they usually are. They want to spend less money.
They're
And
not
our good
skinflint.
buddies,
I'm gonna
Shush.
argue
Shush.
with that. Nope, I'm
Shush.
gonna argue with that. Stop
Because-
degrading Warner Brothers because they put every dollar into Dune and Dune Part 2, and we just talked to Greg Fraser
and
a
they
couple
put
weeks
Coyote
ago.
versus Acme on the shelf to bury it as a tax
That
write-off.
well, you
And they
don't.
gave their fat cat CEO a big bonus at the end of the year.
We're not here to
Whoop-de-doo.
talk business. We're here to
I'm
talk
telling
about
you.
Lord of the
I'm
Rings,
telling you.
and Warner Brothers knows
I
how
am
to support a movie. And if
very
we can get
pleased.
half the support that Dune got, I'm excited.
Mhm. Oh, I'd be excited for that too. But I'm a realist. I might be the only one in the room. So
Well,
I'm just
well,
telling
I'm
you,
not.
the
We're all in
studio,
Middle Earth here. I don't know
if
who
the
you
studio
are.
has found a way to save money, they will do that first. As well
Disagree.
as our friends in New Zealand, Fran and Peter and Philippa, went and said, we can do this movie and we can do it for this much. And they said, sure, yeah, after they counted all the beans. So
But
the bean
you know
counters
who
said
else
yes.
is you know who else is involved in this whole deal though, Cliff, is Middle Earth Enterprises. And
Is
there
that
was
the old
there was
deal? You're right. It's the
no,
end of
this
the
is the
old
new
deal
deal. No, this is part of the new deal, these
with
movies.
Embracer Group.
Yeah. And there was just an excellent article. If you guys haven't read it yet, there was an article.
Ah,
Was it Venture
yes.
Beat?
Yeah, let me bring it up on
Yeah.
screen here.
Games
Yeah.
Beat. It was
Yeah.
Games Beat. Yeah,
Look at Cliff. He's on it. Or
you're
look
right.
at Justin. Justin's on it.
You're
Not
right
Cliff,
there.
but
So
No,
tell
I'm
us
never-
about
kidding.
it. Tell
But yeah,
us about
I
this
guess
article.
I'm never on it.
yeah, this is an article. They did an interview with the CEO of Embracer that's over Middle Earth Enterprises, and yeah, no, he had a lot of great things to say about how they view, their ownership of Middle Earth, and uh, you know, seeing it as a stewardship, which I feel like is what you want to hear from the people who own the rights to this property.
So what
So-
impressed you with
and
it?
I-
You say this stuff you want to hear. What is it that you wanted to hear?
I mean, some of the stuff that we've kind of touched on, the fact that, it's not about just instantly, putting out as much stuff as possible. It's quality over quantity. And, they seem, like he talks about in there how he spent like 18 months getting to know the the brand, the Middle Earth IP, as they say today.
That's kind of what Gollum feels like to me. It feels like a quality attempt rather than a quantity attempt.
Yeah. Yeah. Because, I mean, if you were
Because it's
you
very
were-
counterintuitive.
Yeah, if you were trying to milk it, I mean, God, like, yeah, there's other stories I think you would go after that would be the bigger, more eye-grabbing pick that wouldn't be, wouldn't be as story focused necessarily, or, would be just throwing money at a situation and hoping to get a lot more money. I don't know. I think you guys should read it. It's a really long article, but I think
it's
it's really
a really
good.
long article. It's a really
and it's
great
worth
article.
noting that, like, these are the people who are in these conversations with all these licensees. So whether they're making, video games, movies, board
By the way,
games,
as I'm
whatever.
bringing this article up on screen here today, I just
Mm.
want to remark how the One Ring doesn't have ads all over its website, and I don't know how anybody uses websites anymore, because this is just insane how many ads and pop-up videos. But in
Why
this,
don't you have an ad
Yeah.
blocker, man?
I don't have it
you
on
heard of
all my
stuff like ad
browsers.
block?
You're lucky that he's able to show it on the screen right now.
Yeah.
Don't push your luck with ad
doing-
blockers and fancy
But
stuff.
you know what? Yeah, we'll post this link on the website and on our socials later this week. But I want to give a shout out to Lee, the CEO of Middle Earth Embracer Group, because he shouts us out twice
Yeah.
in the article.
He does.
Matt, how did it
does.
feel reading this article and coming across the One Ring?
How did it feel?
Yeah,
I was
were you
like,
surprised?
I know
were you,
I know
so-
those guys.
Were you surprised to see that the CEO talks about fans in the same breath as the big studios?
No, I mean that's what you want, honestly. You want,
Yes.
the people who have control of this world that you love to be cognizant of the fandom and to have a finger on the pulse, I think. So, no, that's great.
Agreed. It
Yeah.
is refreshing. That is a long article, and I'm still working my way through it to finish reading it today. But
And
I'm very pleased that this guy is actually saying, we understand the way that the fandom has made itself into a community, and how the fandom is, not monolithic, really, but still quite a force of energy, and a force of their monetary success for them, for their projects and their games and films. So that's very, very smart of them, and it's very encouraging
Yeah,
they have this in mind. That they have,
I'm not trying
they have
to
the
scroll
fans in
so you
mind.
can read. I was just trying to find this passage. During the past 18 months, CEO Lee started quietly talking to different parties that matter for the Lord of the Rings franchise, including Peter Jackson's team, the Tolkien estate, Warner Brothers, and Tolkien
Yes.
fans at places such as theonering.net. And they even link to our website.
They
ME
cut out-
has
he
always
cut
been
out the
pretty
part-
approachable.
They cut out the part where it said fans except for Justin at the one. Like except for that guy.
Stop that. Stop that. You're so funny.
They're really helpful people there. They are really helpful. I've communicated with ME before, and they are really nice.
Oh, that's fabulous. Good to know.
So
Really
someone
good to
on
know.
this call has been in contact, and we can confirm, exclusive, we can confirm that we have been in touch with Embracer. That's an exclusive breaking news.
Is it an
That's so good.
exclusive if you're like confirming something that's about you? Like
Sure.
So we'll share a
mean-
link to this article later in the week, and if you're in the chat room, of course you can find it on GamesBeat and AdventureBeat.com. But the final point I want to make on this that Matt touched on is that the leadership of Middle Earth Enterprises not only is trying to build bridges and mend bridges, but he is trying to position Middle Earth as a premium brand. And they talk about putting out quality instead of quantity. And I think this goes to what Demosthenes just said. A Hunt for Gollum feels like an effort of quality. If you want to make your first spin-off movie a quality movie, you bring back Viggo Mortensen. You bring back award-winning Andy Serkis. You bring back like it's obvious. Like they're going for quality rather than quantity of trying to reboot with younger actors or something like that. So
Rohirrim is that too.
yeah.
I mean, you look at the English voice cast that they've chosen. You look at the choice of director, Kenji Kamiyama, and you go, "This is something."
And that's one I feel like I've been excited for that one ever since it was announced, because it's I feel like it's such a good choice for a standalone Middle Earth story. It doesn't have these
We'll get to
ties.
War of the
Oh,
Rohirrim
sorry.
in just a
Sorry.
second.
Jumping the gun.
Yeah, jumping the gun.
I'm
and-
just making the link, you know.
Yeah, there, and to answer a bunch of people in the chat room, again, we're live on 5 different platforms. If you've just joined us, we are going through all the Middle Earth news right now, and we're going to dive into a trailer analysis at the top of the hour. But we wanted to get all this other news out first before we really dive
quite
in
a lot.
frame to frame on the new
Yeah,
Rings of
there's a
Power
lot
trailer. So
of news
hold
today.
on.
Wait, there was a trailer today?
Okay,
Hold
gosh,
on.
gosh.
Wait, I'm not
Hold
ready
on,
to
you
move.
guys.
But before
I'm kidding.
we move
Wait a minute.
Yes. Okay. What is
Before
it,
we
Justin?
do anything else, I've got a question from the chat. Hello, Wonder of Tolkien. It's great to have you here. The question is, what do we suspect the budget for the Hunt for Gollum will be? Somewhere north of 50 million? Somewhere south of 100 million? What do you guys think? Real quick, speculate.
Kingdom of the
Speculate.
Planet of the Apes is a good benchmark, and that cost $120
I agree.
million, and it made it
Oh,
all
yeah.
back this weekend.
120 million?
Yes,
Including marketing. That
Wow.
included production and marketing?
everything, all
No, this
I've got a
says
fact for you.
160 online. What I'm
Okay.
seeing. My
I
research.
reckon.
Wow.
I reckon you can make it for £30,000. £30,000.
Can
That's
you
funny.
back that up? You know what? I think we can.
I
back
sure
that up.
can. Look up Wikipedia, Hunt for Gollum, and that's the exact budget that Bouchard had. It was under
yes,
£30,000.
That's awesome.
Guys,
So,
there is
some-
a 40-minute movie of the Hunt for Gollum.
Yes.
Wow, Warner
Yes.
Brothers moves so fast. This is like Apple announcing a new iPhone. and
People
then
should
coming
watch
out.
it. It's really good.
It's
I
fun. It's
recommend
funny
it.
you mentioned that being the budget. So am I to assume that this movie is starring Vigo and Andy
Yes.
Serkis and everybody?
They're
So-
working. They don't need the money. They can work for free. They're rich up to their eyeballs.
yeah.
How many houses do they have and cars and things?
I'm sure
what do they
that
need
will
money
be.
for?
I'm sure that will be an excellent conversation for Warner Brothers to pitch them.
Yes.
For Warner Brothers
Yes.
to say, you don't need money to do this.
There was a short amount of drama around this. Upon announcing and getting their trademarks for Hunt for Gollum at Warner Brothers New Line Cinema, unfortunately, the automatic legal systems of YouTube took down this movie. It was an accident. No one actually clicked the button. It was all automated based on trademarks. And so that was fixed as soon as people woke up and got to work the next day. At 9 a.m., it was put back online when someone actually could press a button and say, oops, we made a mistake. There was nothing nefarious. It was just an automated system run amok. So Hunt for Gollum, you can watch for free on YouTube right now. Just search for Hunt for Gollum. It is a fan film from 2009, which, guys, I hate to tell you, is 15 years old now. But it looks great.
Yeah.
It's also on the Internet Archive, and if anybody wants, they can download an MP4 there, and then you can have it on your own system, which is what I did the other day.
Perfect.
So if fans can make a 40-minute feature film of Hunt for Gollum, I'm sure Peter Jackson, who made a trilogy out of The Hobbit, can figure out how to make a 2-hour film out of the Hunt for Gollum. Don't you think?
2 hours? 2 hours? Sounds long.
Who knows? Maybe they go old school and make it a clean 1.5 hour movie.
That
Throwback.
would be the weirdest and shortest Peter Jackson produced
Right? Wouldn't that
Middle
be
Earth
wild?
film ever.
Wouldn't that
90
be wild
minutes.
if
My
it was
goodness.
a 90-minute like?
That's even shorter than my documentary, which was
Do they even
96
make
minutes.
movies? Do they even make movies 90 minutes anymore?
I think Venom 2 was a solid 90 minutes. I think Andy
No
Serkis
way.
Yes,
Believe it or
someone
not.
in the chat room, look up the runtime for Venom 2. There will be
Really?
carnage. I want to know this. So Hunt for
Okay.
Gollum.
It is. It's 90 minutes. Wow. Stop that. I think we might be onto something, guys. Andy Serkis directing this. 90
Shorter
could
is
make it.
cheaper too.
Man.
Say that again.
Shorter is cheaper too.
There you go. So Andy's
Now-
bringing in a tight 90. I'm calling it right now. We don't have any other exclusive information. I am speculating. The
We'll
first
see.
leak for the movie is the runtime will be about 90 minutes.
Thank you. Thank you, Vap Verisepa. I appreciate you in the chat. Katie from Prancing Pony Podcast is asking, did you see on the sponsors list for the film that Darren Ormonde is listed? No, I did not know that. And if you're talking
Yeah.
about the sponsors of the fan film, The Hunt
Yes.
for Gollum,
That's
I
what she's
did not
talking about.
even know that. Wow, that is so cool.
Yeah.
They had sponsors? That's great.
And Darren Ormonde, for those of you who aren't familiar, is one of the writers of the new Tales of the Shire video game.
Ah, yes.
go.
Yes.
He's like the
What?
lead story guy. Yeah.
Yes. How cool is that?
And he's
It's
he's
all
listed
connected.
as one of the sponsors. Yeah.
He supported that little fan film a long time
Yeah.
ago.
This
And
is
he's-
crazy how fan films and official productions are just kind of commingling as they always do. Speaking of writers,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think we glossed over the big news. In addition to the Hunt for Gollum announcement with Andy Serkis, Warner Brothers announced that the writers of the Hunt for Gollum will be Phoebe Gittins and Artie Papagiorgio, which, Matt, you interviewed in their first interview ever in New Zealand a little while ago. So is this a confidence in War of the Rohirrim? I mean, if they're already getting a second movie, Warner Brothers
Yes.
must be impressed.
It must be.
Yeah.
It must be so.
It's got to be. That was my assumption. I mean,
Yeah.
for one thing, you already, which I was told when I was down in New Zealand that the move from April to December was not in order to give them more time to work on Rohirrim. Like it was not a let's give the animation team more time to polish it or stuff like that. Like this was the timeline is the timeline, but we're moving this to December, which kind of comes with some expectations, maybe some that having a movie in mid-April and one in that mid-December time slot that's works so well for things like Star Wars and Lord of the Rings obviously is the big one, Avatar. That's some pretty big territory there. And so that right there seemed like a confidence a vote of confidence, and then
Yep.
the fact that they're on for the next film. I mean, I don't know how else you would interpret that other than that's a vote of confidence in what they turned in for War of the Rohirrim.
Huge vote of confidence.
Yeah.
In it's like nothing else. It's like nothing else because you don't get to sit in those meetings and get to talk about developing projects unless they really want to work with you and they really want to consider what you're bringing to the table. And for these these youngins that you just interviewed, Matt, and a big shout out to you, Matt. That was a great interview with all of them.
Oh, thanks.
But
Yeah.
to see these youngins just starting their career at this nascent level of things starting out for them, and it's very exciting. And it is a huge vote of confidence on behalf of the studio. It really is.
Demosthenes, you've been kind of our lead at the OneRing.net when it comes to War of the Rohirrim reporting over the last 3 years. How everything that you've heard, are you more excited now that Phoebe has been given another movie?
I want to see a little bit of the Rohirrim first before I judge. You know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We'll go wait and see.
100%. I think it's a smart
Don't have to
move.
wait too much longer.
Yeah.
December.
Well, that's
Coming.
another that's the other big news.
It is a vote. I agree. It is a vote of confidence, though. You don't give a writer something if you don't trust what they've done already.
Unless you're
Mhm.
Sony Marvel, in which case you do the Morbius, Madam Web, just keep that train a going.
Well, speaking of seeing footage of the War of the Rohirrim, Demosthenes, did we get more news on that front about something coming up?
They're going to be at Annecy again, which I didn't expect, but that's really good.
They will be at the Annecy Animation Film Festival in France, right?
Understand it's pronounced Annecy.
Annecy.
Yeah,
Fancy.
That's
Oh.
a
Fancy.
French.
Mm.
Mais oui, j'ai étudié le français 12 ans à l'école. Malheureusement, j'ai parlé un très peu français.
I don't speak any French, though.
There you go. I just said that in French.
You
But that
guys-
would be exciting. So who's going to go to France and watch it for us?
I'd love to. I would love
Well,
to.
quick, hop on a plane, get a press pass.
I've got
know,
to. I
right?
mean, geez.
We need an insider. If you're in the chat room and you happen to be going to Annecy in France, hit us up in the DMs. Our DMs are always open. You can also email webmaster@theonering.net because most of our coverage in our 25 years has been from fans reporting back to us. And so we want to encourage that. If you're in France, you live close by, I think you can get tickets still. It's worth you can be our star reporter, giving us the inside scoop. Demosthenes, they announced a pretty good panel at Annecy to support War of the Rohirrim, didn't they?
Isn't it Kamiyama, Cho, DeMarco, and Philippa Boyens? And isn't Serkis going to be there?
Yeah, he's
Oh.
moderating.
Wow, that's
Okay,
great.
so he's going to
Yeah.
ask them the questions.
Yeah.
Why do they are they trying to link the two?
Oh, I'm sure that's probably something to do with it. Just that, that's the big news is that Andy's coming back, and so, why not have him moderate?
Use
And,
one to push the other.
Yeah, might as well.
Exactly. I can see them doing that. It makes sense. It's a synergy that makes sense to me. Yes.
And we can non-exclusively report here on the show that your dreams will come true. The executive producer of War of the Rohirrim says it is not just a trailer, but they will be showing a nice big chunk of the film. That is an actual quote from the executive producer. They're showing a nice big chunk of the film. There he is on Twitter, Jason DeMarco.
Nice.
I
Very
have a
nice.
theory there.
Go ahead.
Okay, so you guys know Evangelion, right?
Who?
The Evangelion, the anime.
Oh yes, Evangelion, of
Yeah.
course.
Okay. So
Of course.
for the final Evangelion film, 3+1, um, Hideaki Anno showed like the first 8 or 13 minutes, way before it was actually released, and I suspect maybe they'll do something like that.
Up to 13 minutes, you think?
I don't know.
My
Even like 5 minutes would be cool.
my theory is they will show the first 13 minutes. They'll show the first opening act of the movie in full. And I think this because of Matt's interview. They spoke very candidly and open with you about the first act, the characters, how the movie is set up, what happens, you know, how the dynamic of the relationships. Like the interview you got, they really were forthcoming, weren't they?
Oh yeah, they gave me way more than I thought they were going to when I went down there to talk. Like I purposely went through and was like, well, what can you tell me about each of these characters, and went through them one at a time, and they gave me a good amount on the main characters of the story.
Oh yeah.
You know, obviously Helm Hammerhand, his daughter Hera. We talked about Wolf is one that I'm very curious
the main
to see
antagonist
what they do.
of this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, we talked about like 5 or 6 characters that play a role in this, and they
Mystiker
were
in
very
the chat
forthcoming.
room wants to know: is the film cell shaded CGI animation? The answer is no. It's hand drawn. This is old school hand drawn Japanese animation studio from the same team that made what was it? Standalone Complex. Ghost in the Shell. That's right.
Yeah.
So this is a hand-drawn animation. Of course, they're going to use CGI for some of the harder things to animate, like duplicating horse animations, which are the hardest thing to animate. One of the hardest things to animate is a horse galloping. So, of course, there's going to be a little bit of CGI and duplication, but this is a hand-drawn, classically animated film. And, of course, Cliff, didn't a hand-drawn Japanese animated film just win the Oscar this year?
Is this the Miyazaki Minute?
The Boy and the Heron, which will be released in an exclusive 4K ultra high def steelbook edition that's coming out in June or early July. And here's the thing. Not long after, you know, the news died down and Miyazaki got his Oscar, everybody else started talking about Evangelion again. And Demosthenes, you were there for that. Everybody was like, whoa, really? Because they were re-releasing that major feature film that concluded the story of the series of Evangelion. What was the name of that film again, Demos?
I can't remember.
I think it's called The End of Evangelion. I think that's the title of the film, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And so it gets redistributed, and everyone starts buzzing and talking about that film, but it's related to an older TV series that's, you know, a long time gone. And there's still that level of energy around the way Americans in the theatrical marketplace are consuming hand-drawn anime. That's the point I want to leave you with. It wasn't long after the Miyazaki conversation was over and people were talking about the end of Evangelion. Well, that movie was released decades ago, but the re-release of it caused such an energy, and so many fans went and sold out all of those auditoriums to go and see that film. So honestly, the producers of The War of the Rohirrim have a marketplace that is wide open, just completely open in anticipation for this kind of a product. And it happens to be The Lord of the Rings. And we're going back, it feels like, we're going back to the mid-70s when the very first adaptations we had of Tolkien were animated films. So it's really cool to come full circle with that. It's really cool.
Thank you, Clifford Broadway. That was your Miyazaki Minute. You can find Clifford Broadway on Twitter and talk all things anime at QuickBeam2000.
How do we not have a graphic for that yet? That's what I want to know.
We're an all volunteer. We're an all volunteer website. If you guys,
I'm gonna make one while we are streaming. I will make one and have it by the end of the stream.
Minute. You guys are too funny. Thanks for having a laugh at my expense. I love you too. I love you guys.
A couple
I love you
of
too.
things before we move on from War of the Rohirrim. I just want to give everybody this. This also, as part of the news about the Annecy Film Festival, which is June 12th. June 12th. We are 1 month away from a hefty chunk, a big chunk of the movie being screened publicly at that convention. Warner Brothers sent over this logo. It's an updated version of the logo we've had for the last 2 years. It looks great, but when I downloaded it, it was 100 megs, and I'm like, why is this JPEG 100 megs? Because they sent it to me in 12K. Look at the detail in the stonework on this logo.
I have
Matt,
a question.
What? Go ahead.
It looks sharp.
Why are they doing it at 12K resolution? What on earth would you need to do that for?
So we can sit here on a stream and zoom in on it.
Even if you're putting on a billboard, you don't need it that big. It's not how it works.
Well,
that's a good question. It's a very good question.
The Apple Vision Pro headset can support the highest resolutions possible, and I'm happy that they're mastering this movie at 12K based on this JPEG.
12K. Goodness gracious.
It's a lot of Ks.
That's a lot of Ks, isn't it? So
that's a lot of drawing as well.
I think
that
it's
makes
just
me
the
frightened
logo.
for the animators.
I think it's just the logo. They're not animating in 12K, but thank you for the high res assets, Warner Brothers.
It's very cool. It's very cool.
So yeah, June 12th, they will be at the Annecy, France Animation Film Festival. And if you want to go slide into our DMs, if you happen to be there, because I don't think I'm going to make it to France.
Or if you have anything to say about it.
Yeah, or if you have anything.
Does anybody have some rumors?
I need to go look up flights to
speculation.
France, I guess.
They have released so little about War of the Rohirrim. It's such a secret project.
It just makes me want to know it all the more.
What do you think of that secrecy? I mean, it's pretty good, I would say, huh?
I think it's because it's being animated in Japan, and they know how to keep their mouth shut over there. That's what I think.
Straight up, just that's the easiest. That's the easiest answer.
Occam's razor, man.
Indeed.
Let's see here.
Okay, now, do we have...
It is the top of the hour.
Do we have the chance now to talk about the Rings of Power teaser trailer, which was so chock full of goodness. Lots of good stuff going on. And mysteries. Mysteries that need to be answered. There's some really great stuff going on. I can't believe how much news we have. We have so much news. But, Justin, you made a fairly accurate prediction. You predicted after the announcement of The Hunt for Gollum that there would be a release of a Rings of Power trailer to keep the energy going, to actually be a counterpoint to that, and to offer the fandom even more things to get excited about. And you were quite right. You were quite right.
It was just a lucky guess. And before we move on to talk about Rings of Power, we wanted to put together an all-star panel of fan perspectives on the latest Rings of Power news and review the trailer frame by frame. So let's bring in some of our friends. We've got Garfa Mao joining us. She's Kathy, our events coordinator, and who's helping out organizing Comic-Con, which we can talk about on a later show. We've got Josh Rubenstein. You might remember him as Saruman, the host of Torn Book Club, and friend of the show, Jason Charles Miller, who just got back from London, where you performed in front of Adar himself, did you not?
I did. Yes. Yeah, I met Adar, Sam, the new Adar, Sam Hazeldine.
Oh yeah.
Completely different connection because he plays my real life grandfather in the show Masters of the Air on Apple TV Plus.
How cool.
We met on a completely different wavelength, but of course had to talk Tolkien a little bit, just a little bit.
Oh, that is so cool. Welcome,
What?
welcome everybody. I'm going to say hello to Josh and to Kathy and to you as well, Jason Charles Miller.
Thanks.
Welcome to our gaggle, our little gaggle of Fraggles down at Fraggle Rock. So welcome to Fraggle Rock, and we're going to have a really good, oh no, it's the Jim Henson minute. I just switched on you, went from the Miyazaki minute, now we're doing the Jim Henson
I
minute.
just sent
Okay.
I just sent Justin the graphic that I whipped up for that, by the way. So you
That's
have one
funny.
now. You have
Thank
one
you. Thank you, Matt. I love it. I am so excited by what I saw. And this is not, keep in mind, our dear audience, this is not the main trailer. This is just a teaser. And it is
Trailer.
just filled with exciting, wacky, cool things. So many cool
Comic-Con,
things.
baby. Comic-Con.
Thank you for that, Matt. That is the perfect
Wow,
lower
I didn't
third.
say anything. Oh, you
That's
got
there.
it. Oh, okay.
It's beautiful.
Good deal.
There you go, folks. The Miyazaki Minute with Cliff Broderick.
There it is.
That is too funny. You're killing me, Larry.
That's
You're killing me.
I think that's like 90% of the audience when the Miyazaki minute happens. I felt like that meme just encapsulates it. Here he goes again.
Here he goes. Oh gosh. So frustrating.
Real time
are
production
too
here,
funny.
folks. Real time
That's right.
production. So
That's
before we
hilarious.
jump into analyzing the
That's
trailer,
hilarious.
I expect that our entire audience has already watched the trailer, so we don't need to just play it through. Also, I don't want to get copyrighted on the sound playback, so we can just analyze what we're watching. But before we do that, the big news that accompanied the trailer was the release date. And
yeah.
to absolutely no one's surprise, it's the same weekend as last time. August 29th is Labor Day weekend. It is a long 5-day weekend. Of course, that is the same weekend as Dragon Con, which Torn usually presents at. It is also the weekend a lot of people go on holiday, and it's a weekend of some gaming conventions, I believe. But yeah, the 29th of August is the release date. And did anyone catch the big other news about the release date?
What's that?
It's not one episode. It's
Oh,
not
yeah.
2 episodes. We are
Three.
getting 3 full
Yeah.
hours of Rings
Okay.
of Power
Oh, right,
Season
yeah.
2 on release day.
On release
Alright.
day.
Wow.
That's gonna be a
Wow.
long night.
Wow.
Where was that posted?
I'm looking at Amazon's press site now,
Ah.
and
Wow.
they've confirmed 3 episodes. So I guess for guys like Matt that do episode reviews, do you just review
Yeah.
the 3-hour thing, or do you do 3? Do you like watch the show, watch one episode,
Uh-huh.
and then pause, and then do your content?
Well, no, I do watch parties. So like we'll be presuming that it drops at midnight on the 29th. I don't know. Last time I think they did like a 9 p.m. or something.
Yeah, midnight for who? Midnight for
Yeah,
New York?
I think it
Midnight
was-
for London?
Usually midnight for East Coast is what it has
When they
been in
did
the past.
Fallout
usually.
last month, they released it 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, which I
That
loved.
sounds delightful. I would love that.
I like
No,
that a lot.
my routine has been do a watch party starting at midnight or whenever it drops. Do the watch party for a couple hours and then go into the breakdown. So
I can remember watching 1 or 2 of them with you. And
Yeah.
It's just like going, okay, I'm going to bed now.
yeah, no, I have to cut it off eventually. Like the chat, we just keep going, and I'm like, guys, I gotta do a breakdown, and I'm gonna be up for the next 12 hours.
Yeah.
Real quick, on the Amazon announcement, they described the show as this, showcasing the cinematic splendor that the series is known for, and heralding the return of many fan favorite characters, including Galadriel, Prince Durin IV, Arondir, and Celebrimbor. This first look also reveals the much anticipated creation of more rings. Wait, does it?
Yes.
It does.
Oh, we definitely saw more
Oh,
rings.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. I saw a ton more rings. There's a shot where he's dumping 9 rings into a fire.
Yeah.
Well, maybe
He's
I
making
was
it
just
rain with
He's
rings.
making it rain. The season's first season was an unprecedented global success and one of the top original series for Prime Video, viewed by more than 100 million people worldwide and driving more Prime signups worldwide during its launch window than any other previous content to date. And of course, we forgot to mention last couple of weeks, but they just reported last week that Fallout, which dropped all the episodes at once, broke Rings of Power's record with a combined total of 2.9 billion minutes watched, making Fallout the most watched TV
Yeah,
show.
I was about to say like all those stats. I was like, yeah, until Fallout.
Which I think, them dumping it all at once probably help, people just keep going, I would imagine.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I personally like the weekly release better. Personally.
Yeah, so 3 episodes at the front is going to be...
That's a lot.
That is.
Yeah.
That will keep you working like the whole
Yeah.
weekend.
Oh yeah, no, it's gonna be miserable for me, but I mean, it'd be great for people. It'd be great for people who just
I'm
want to
gonna
watch
text
the
you
show
and be like,
and go to bed.
Are you still awake?
I'm just
Are
gonna
you
be
making
slamming,
content for the next 72 hours?
I'll be slamming
Justin.
Monster energy drinks all night.
So,
man.
Justin, real quick, I just wanted to go back to something about the War of the Rohirrim and the date change. Is, if I remember correctly, when the press release came out, it mentioned that Dune, which was originally supposed to be late fall, winter of 2023, got moved mostly because of the strike, and it just took them longer to finish. So it was moved, and it was moved into Godzilla versus Kong's slot. Then Godzilla Kong was moved into the spot for War of the Rohirrim. And so they were like, and War of the Rohirrim, and I completely agree with you, moving it to December instead of just, 2 or 3 months down the line is kind of genius.
It's it's the perfect time for a Lord of the Rings film to be in
totally
theaters.
is.
It feels right.
Yeah, it's just it would
feel weird if we didn't get if we got a Lord of the Rings film not in December.
Yeah, and so the move wasn't about whether or not War of the Rohirrim was going to finish. It was Dune 2 not being finished. So that's just my little.
Shout out to Long Expected Soundscape in the chat room. Thanks for joining us. We were just talking about
there,
you,
buddy.
With the Andy Serkis news. So I guess let's dive in. We all shared text messages earlier today. Our chat rooms have been blown up. Our Discord is more active than I've ever seen before on a single day. Millions of comments, tons of reactions all over the web. So
I like Demos's post from Dr. Nosy and her take on the preview or the trailer. That was kind of fun.
What was that?
Demosthenes, he posted to the main page, and it was a review from Dr. Nosy from the Discord.
Yes. And I think Demosthenes has already left our show.
Yes, he has. Yes.
Unfortunately, it's so great to have him here. But
well, he's on the other side of the planet.
That's true. He is. But how exciting. That's a lot of details that Dr. Nosy put together. Justin, are we not going to play the thing because of not getting a music strike for copyright?
I've got it. I've got it right here. Let's see if this works. Hopefully,
and Justin, the behind the scenes, because there's the behind the scenes.
Right, Justin, you didn't even mention the behind the scenes video, which honestly reveals more stuff.
More, it does.
I have 2 pages of notes.
Hang
so this
on.
is the behind the scenes, and I got
they released 2 videos where a year and a half of dry desert of official information, and we got 2 videos today.
Two for the price of 1.
Well, can they just complete it with a 3rd video and make us feel like Galadriel, like gifting us? I wanted 1, but she gave me 3.
You mean a hat trick? You mean a Lord of the Rings hat trick? That would be nice.
Lord of the Rings hat trick would be amazing. Well, let's dive in. Let's dive in. Let me pin this to the second screen. Let's hopefully nothing breaks here. So we got the trailer, and I'm gonna find the other video after this. But that looks fine. That looks fine. It's the volcano we all know and love. And we
Just
Well,
talked
it's
last
also the
time on
very
Rings
end.
of Power.
Yeah, it's the last scene of the first season. So
What'd you guys
it's-
think of this treatment of the gold Prime logo?
An evil.
Yeah,
Oh,
they
the
like
evil
what they
eating it?
venomed it or something, it was like a symbiotic. What is that? Venom?
Mhm.
He
Yeah.
does that. Yeah, that's what kind of
Yeah.
felt like. Because then later you see the weird worm monster.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
definitely had like a Venom feel to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
There
keep
it is.
thinking of the Horta from Star Trek, except for the fact that this one's much more evil than the Horta.
What is going on here? Wait.
Are you trying not to play the audio, Justin? Because you're definitely playing the audio.
Well, I guess it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Look.
What's
So
going
what
on?
have we ever seen anything like that in Middle Earth? What's going on?
No, no.
Oh,
No. Mm-mm.
Nope.
it's something
That's-
scary and evil.
That's a symbiote right there.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
also
Yeah,
reminds
Venom
me
has
of
come to Middle Earth.
Yeah.
it reminds me of the opening scene, and forgive me, but we're gonna go there. It reminds me of the opening scene of Princess Mononoke, where the boar god is covered with all the yucky,
Oh,
gross
Sir,
black.
your
see that.
Miyazaki
That's the
minute
graphic.
is up. Your Miyazaki
That's-
minute
Yeah.
is
Yeah,
up.
bring
You
up the
cannot-
Miyazaki
That's a
minute.
good theme. That's a good
But-
theme image. Yes.
Do not mistake the influence of one strong visual director on a long lineage of other directors and other people who take those visuals and they put them in the DNA of their own movies and shows. That's all. It just happens sometimes.
And one theme or one theory that I saw in Lord of the Rings Twitter today was that they think that when Adar kills Sauron, that this is Sauron regenerating. So this is the beginning of
Okay.
the evil gunk, from his death, reforming into something living, and it's starting to crawl across the ground as it starts to form limbs and things. So
Can I offer
that's a
another
theory.
theory?
Go for
Can
it.
I offer another theory? The showrunners have said during the interviews on season 1 that they wanted to create a grand unification theory for a lot of the magic in Middle Earth. This feels like, to me, this is the origin of Sauron climbing out of the primordial soup. This is the foundation of the creation of Middle Earth, and this is Sauron. Before he has formed a thing, a physical presence, because based on conversations that Cliff has had, and I think Matt, you've tried to tell me this, that Sauron and the Elder Maya were formless during the Ayu Lindale.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Look at you busting out terms like the Ainulindale.
I taught I taught
pay
him how to say it.
attention.
Don't ever
Because
say
I
Justin
taught
doesn't
him how to
pay
say it.
attention.
25 years. That's all it took for Justin
To learn how to say
to get a
Ainulindale.
Silmarillion reference in there, man. Good job.
Look what Amazon's making me do. They're making me learn this stuff.
Prime Video. So
See,
the
I
proper
thought-
term is Prime Video.
I thought
Prime
that
Video.
like
That's right.
this reminded me of the stuff that's on the tree in Linden. Like I was thinking,
Oh
this is-
yeah.
and
Yeah,
it
that was-
does
that was
look
what I
like
was
it's
thinking.
climbing up a cliff face, which we see the tree is like on the edge of a sheer cliff in season 1. So yeah, I think there's some kind of connection there. I think.
Do you, Jason? Where do you think we got 2 theories? Do you agree with
Man,
either
I
one
don't
of them?
even I don't even have an opinion, man.
It's something you
to
run
quote Pulp Fiction, because these guys leave us with we have crazy theories about something, and then it's all changed when it comes out. But I wonder though, later in the trailer they do show these kind of wormy things coming out, like going
True.
in Linden, and I wonder if that's the beginning of that, like Matt said. Or maybe Josh said that, but
Matt said that. but
I feel
agree.
like it's
We were both thinking
connected
it.
somehow. At least in this trailer, they want us to believe that it's connected. So yeah,
Not that everything needs to be book accurate, but is there anything, Cliff? Is there, or Josh? You ran Torn Book Club. Is there anything in the text that references anything like this? Is there something like is this anything?
Not really. Like, I mean, the closest thing I can think of is like Ungoliant spewing darkness. Maybe if they're doing like a flashback.
that's cool.
Brilliant. Yeah.
Like fully, like darkness with a form to it.
Yeah.
Unlight. I love that
Unlight.
term.
Exactly.
Unlight.
Yeah.
Unlight. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's that's the hard task at hand. How do you visualize a lot of these abstract ideas that Tolkien writes about? You know, what does a formless figure mean visually? You know, if and Cliff, I mean, weren't there leaks just a few months ago that implied we might actually see the creations of the world?
Yeah, there was the
There-
biggest
there
chunk.
was.
Those big rumors, to many people were like, "What? Bunch of nonsense." But to me, I thought this is cool. It would be the coolest thing to show the music of the Ainur as some kind of contextual flashback of us, the audience, learning something about how Sauron and Morgoth and the relationships with the Valar all came to pass at all. But I mean, the question is, in terms of economy of storytelling, is season 2 of The Rings of Power needing that? Does it need that as a backbone for what season 2 is going to present? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. But I was delighted by the rumors.
It's hard to
Go ahead,
tell.
Jane. Go ahead.
Well, okay, so and I see some people in chat too, and they're right. You know, so Sauron and Morgoth were not evil at the beginning, right? Sauron was Myron or something. I'm probably getting the pronunciation wrong.
Yeah.
But so they were, you know, somewhat benevolent spirits. So I can't see that being Sauron's origin story unless there's some sort of, and then he turned to the dark worm side or something, you know. So then again, for the screen, oftentimes showrunners and directors choose a more visual way to explain or show us or simplify it. So I don't know.
Okay, fair
I
enough.
like I like the theory of Adar. You know, I'm Team Adar now more than ever, as you know. So I like the idea of Adar killing Sauron again, and then that's him reforming. So
yeah.
Is this a spider? Is this Shelob's early form?
Nah.
No.
No.
Okay, moving on.
Although
You've seen
Shelob is
seen
going
spiders before, right, Justin?
Yeah. But
No,
there
you
will be a
haven't.
Shelob. There will be a Shelob sequence.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Yeah, exactly.
We've got a lot to go through. Let's move on.
All right. So here's a shot of
The Avenger
here's the hero shot. The Avenger
That
shot.
is a hero shot for sure. Yeah.
And we've only recognized 2 of the elves here, really.
We have other characters who are brand new there.
Hang on. What?
We
There's
saw
only
that other
two?
we saw that young lady in the casting announcement months ago, I think. But Matt, when I watched your video discussion of this from earlier today,
Yeah.
you were the one who picked out the green eyes of these evil beings
Yeah,
hovering on the edges of this
Wait, where is
forest
that?
clearing.
That's in the background. Go
They're right
back
there.
to it. Right there. There's
They're
one
right there.
behind
Oh, yeah, I see 'em.
Elrond's head. Yep.
But they're way
There's
in the
2
background.
of them. If you go back to where you see Galadriel, if you scroll back a bit,
Yeah.
where you see Galadriel.
Yeah, I can see him. Yeah, there's like
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
Hang
some
on.
And
What?
there are
everyone's
some
There's
dark
one-
figures standing in the background.
There's
there.
one on the far right of the screen, and then there's one directly above like Elrond's shoulder
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
toward the top of frame.
So in other words,
have
they actually
and-
are preparing to fight something.
Yes.
Yeah,
And my they
evil
they look to
green-eyed
me
creatures are there.
like, you know, based on descriptions and illustrations of, you know, various amazing Tolkien artists over the years. These to me look like Barrow Whites.
But if they are Barrow Whites, how could they possibly fit into the lore at this point when there hasn't been a Nazgul?
I'm not
there
saying that I
certainly
have an
hasn't been a Witch
explanation.
King.
I'm
But-
just saying what it looks like, Cliff.
There are other
I know.
whites.
I know. I
Oh.
agree with what it looks like, but we have
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
ask the question: how could that fit
Yeah.
into the story?
Yeah, I think that was the
Alright,
thing for
here's-
me is like that's the one thing is like I don't. Yeah, there you go. That's the one thing is like I don't. You know, the Barrow Whites are very obviously connected strongly to the Witch King, and he's the one that summons those spirits to inhabit the bones of fallen Arnorians, and yeah,
Wait, so how many are in this scene? So we've got one,
there's at least two.
we've got two.
And then I think we see a couple more as the camera
And
pans
is
around.
the fog unnatural?
I would think so. Yeah.
Yeah,
So moving with
that's
the
still the
creatures?
second one. I think
Paul,
there's a
Paul Vincenti in the chat has
There's
reminded
one,
us
yeah.
that there are other whites.
there you go.
That there
There's
might
a
be
third one.
other
over-
whites,
Yeah.
not just the ones that were assigned a job by the Witch King.
Mm.
So that's an interesting concept.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, is
Look,
it
the Witch
possible?
King's creating jobs. Look at
Yeah.
that.
Is it possible that these could be like that cult of Sauron that we saw last season? Maybe.
Oh, could be
They didn't
acolytes
have
of
glowing
Sauron.
eyes.
Yeah,
Yeah, they
Oh,
do.
wait.
could be.
All right, and then
And
here
there's
we
a
go.
behind the scenes. There's a behind the scenes look at I think one of these guys pre-visual effects.
Three.
Oh, okay.
We got number 4 is here. Looks like we got number 5 right here. Possibly number 6 right here. We've got number 7 on the edge of the frame right here. Guys, we have 7 whites.
Are we thinking maybe there's 9?
I heard
Oh, and
that.
there's
Isn't it
another one.
early for that?
Look,
Isn't it a bit
people-
early for that?
Right,
what I
that's
was
what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
Unless
but-
this is like from episode
This
8.
show has been speed running Middle Earth history since the first season, so like I
Yeah.
wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
Wait, we've got in this shot, in the final frame, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then the 3 from the first frame. Guys, we have 9 whites here.
Okay. Well, I hope this is
Okay.
from episode 8 because I was really hoping to see like the backstories of 9 kings getting corrupted and
Yeah,
seeing all that.
same.
That's what I thought this show was going to be about originally.
Yeah, that's
Well,
what I
and-
wanted, and
Yeah.
like I
During the
haven't liked that
seventh-
they're speed running the history, so at least I hope we get like a little something.
Right.
Well,
Give us a
during the
season. at
7th
least.
says that there is no saying that they couldn't be using some sort of evil spirits that are reanimating dead bodies.
Guys, whites are not wraiths.
Correct.
No.
Correct.
They're
Well,
different,
tell me-
different
t-
creatures.
Okay.
So you guys were talking about barrow whites. Can you tell me what that is? Because I don't remember seeing that in the movies. And if it's not in the movie, I don't know about it.
They were
That's
not in the
because
movie.
Not in the
no
movie.
Tom Bombadil stuff ever made it into the movies. That's why.
So what's a barrow white? What are you talking about? Tell me.
Goodness.
Well,
Goodness.
barrows are burial, the
Mounds,
big dome
yeah.
mounds,
Yeah.
and there are ghostly things in there, and the hobbits, as they are leaving Tom Bombadil, they go wandering, and a mist shows up, and they end up inside of one of the barrows, and all of a sudden they are lulled into sleep as the ghostly beings get ready to start, I don't know, sucking the life out of them. And one of them remembers a little song that Tom Bombadil taught him, which calls Tom Bombadil, who sort of brings light and pulls them all out. But that's also where they get their swords from. So
Yeah.
the hobbits actually get swords, and these are old swords that actually have effect. It's how Merry is actually able to affect the Witch King and that last battle on Pelennor Fields. It's because of the sword that he picked up inside the barrel. So
So
They were once
ghosty scary.
Numenorian
It's-
blades.
Yeah, it's the
Right.
horror. It's the horror film portion of the Lord of the Rings.
So is a barrow white the Bombadil version of Sauron's wraiths?
No.
No.
What?
No.
What?
Bombadil is the enemy of the Barrow Whites.
Yes.
And
Oh, he
rescues the hobbits. Rescues the hobbits
He
from
rescues
the
the
Barrow
hobbits
Whites.
from them.
Yeah.
But that's another thing. They don't appear till like the 1300 of the Third Age or something.
Mm-hmm.
So the Barrow Whites anyway. So hopefully
it's-
they don't
yeah.
smush that together.
Yeah.
Right. Well, we've got 8 or 9 of these figures
Oh,
with
wow.
glowing
Yeah.
eyes in this shot. So I think we can. There was some Twitter and Discord discussion that the glowing eyes could might have been Tom Bombadil. We can squash that right now. There's 8 of them in there. There's probably maybe even 9 of them. So.
And also, if you make Tom Bombadil evil, I'm leaving.
So, any thoughts of what these are? Are these Barrow Whites? Are these Wraiths? Is there a difference at this point?
Do you know what I imagine? Back to what Jason was asking, that you wanted to see the relationships of the 9 kings of men.
Yeah.
And what happened?
Mhm.
What happened to see them deteriorate
Mhm.
in the moral fabric that they would be so accepting of gifts from Sauron? Or maybe they were coerced by fear, which was, as we all know, one of Sauron's favorite tactics, to exploit fear. And I've got a funny feeling, because of the time crunching of the Rings of Power in general, that instead of meeting different individuals, I get a feeling we're going to get a montage sequence with
Have
music.
a montage.
Yeah, I hope we have that.
Time for a
song.
It might be
montage.
1 or 2.
Yep.
You might
Imagine.
be 1 or 2, but then
Yeah.
a montage for the rest.
Imagine,
Yeah, I can see that.
yeah,
Yeah.
1 or 2. You might
Okay.
meet 1 or 2. Maybe one of them is a character we already know who is destined to become a Nazgul. Looking at you, Theo. But
Mhm.
I get a funny feeling that they're going to give us a montage where it's just music and Anatar meeting strange, nameless characters who are not named. They're just shown. Gives them a ring, a nod of the head, and then they'll really accelerate things like that. And then fast forward, we're going to end up with part Nazgul that are partly becoming wraiths, ring wraiths, a lot faster than they normally would. Any thoughts on this, Matt, or anybody?
I still
Anybody?
think they're.
These aren't wraiths,
Barrow
though,
Whites.
because
Yeah, I
the
think
wraiths
they're
never
Barrow
had
Whites.
glowing eyes. They never had
Yeah.
glowing eyes.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
this is
there you
something
go.
else.
They've got glowing green eyes,
So,
which
fi-
we've
final
seen on
answer.
John Howe
Banshees, they had
artwork.
glowing eyes.
And I think it would be way too soon to see
Yes.
ring wraiths in this season. Like,
All right. So,
Yeah.
because
I-
we haven't even seen
yeah.
the 9 rings created. It just seems way too fast. Like, even a show that's kind of been fast paced lore
Galloping.
wise. Yeah, I think it's too fast.
all right.
Time compression.
Sold.
Time compression.
We all agree that these are Barrow Whites. And are we excited that we finally get to see Barrow Whites for the first time on screen?
I don't think they're Barrow Whites, but maybe some.
I don't think they're Barrow Whites
No.
either. Like I'm still going with like this is the cult of Sauron that we saw in season 1.
That was only 3 people.
There could be more.
Okay.
I'm excited to see Bombadil.
Well,
Oh,
Me
Cult
too.
of
Let's
Sauron
get
is
there.
kind
Me
of
too.
Let's
Yeah.
get there. I think some people thought that they saw Bombadil. All right.
Okay, cool.
I was
What the-
scrutinizing.
yeah.
I couldn't find them.
He wasn't
also,
singing if it was in it.
Before we move on, I just want to say we have to point out that the filmmakers are listening to the fans, and all of these new elves have beautiful, long, flowing hair. Thank you.
I'm
And
Elrond-
Elrond
Elrond's
is growing
hair is a
his hair
little
out.
longer. It's a little
It
longer
is
too.
a little bit longer for Robert Arameo. Yes.
So I think I'm going to
But the
grow
one
my hair
behind
out
him
now.
has got long hair.
Elrond's like, oh, we're doing long hair now? Oh, okay, fine. No one gave me the memo.
Give me a decade, I'll get there.
All right. What we got going on here? Looks like we got butterflies.
Moths.
Moths.
Mm-hmm.
No. Do you see the blood on the hands?
Yeah.
These are
The
leaves.
hands have
These
been
are
cut.
leaves, and the blood. Yeah, there's blood on the hands. So is that an elf or a dwarf? Because look at the dress. I mean,
No, that's
With the
that's
blood,
one
I'm
of the
thinking
Looks
this
very
is-
elf to me.
We're
Yeah.
assuming, maybe we're assuming they're acolytes of Sauron.
It's the Nazgal.
It's
It could be the
Nazgul.
Nazgals.
Nazgal.
Not to be confused with other real Nazgul that will show up, maybe in season 3. I don't know. Maybe this one, maybe
In
season
fact,
2.
if someone could bring up a screenshot of the Nazgals in season 1, were they wearing bracers like that?
Uh-huh. I believe so. I do believe so.
They
And
might
were
have
they
been.
with the
Mystics.
Acolytes.
The
They were called
Mystics, I
acolytes.
believe.
Mystics? Okay.
Yeah,
I think
Yeah, the Mystics.
Nazgals is more fun, personally.
Yeah,
totally.
I agree.
But yeah, and I mentioned this in my breakdown, but if you recall when the stranger, blasts them away, right after this in the season finale of
that
season
looks
1,
like the same flowing.
That
oh yeah,
feels like
absolutely.
the same vibe.
Yeah.
And when they get blown away, they dissipate in a like cloud of moths, basically. So
yeah,
I wonder if this is them like reforming or returning or something.
yeah.
Possibly, yeah.
They
Yeah, 'cause when you
respawn
go-
back at home base or something.
Yeah, because when you go forward in that video, you then see what looks like a bunch of leaves or possibly moths flying in. Like one of them is formed and is pulling others in to reform. Yeah.
Let's see it. Oh wait, hold on.
Oh.
Whoop.
Wrong thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a reforming.
So the moths reform.
But this
under
is
a
reforming
blood
in a
sacrifice.
place. This is actually reforming in a place, though. I mean, it's got a chimney.
So it looks kind of like Moria.
It does.
Yeah.
See,
it
that's
almost has like an Egyptian vibe to me.
yeah.
I was
see,
thinking that
I think
too,
it's
yeah.
I think it's Rune. That's
Yeah.
the theory I put
yeah,
forth.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay, yeah.
If
I
it
think it's
looks
Rune.
like sand, if it looks like Tatooine or Egypt, you're in Rune.
Tatooine or Egypt.
Yeah.
Right.
You see
Yeah.
sand, you're in Rune.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, and I originally
learned,
thought those were leaves, but now it's really clear they actually are moths.
Yeah.
I
Well, I
learned a little bit more by watching the behind the scenes clip about where those scenes were shot that was supposed to be the far, far east of Rune.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
When we get to see the stranger later on.
Yeah.
And-
oh, look at this.
And
I
it would
have a
make
clip.
sense that they would reform in Rune because they got a bone to pick with the stranger now.
Oh yeah. And he
here's-
goes all.
Here's the comparison of the destruction of the acolytes into moths, and obviously an inspiration when Doctor Strange converts Thanos's stuff into butterflies. So two big butterfly conversions here. That feels-
Interesting.
Illuminati confirmed.
We like to see it. We like to find these comparisons, don't we?
Yeah, next thing you know, the Lord of the Rings is going to be in the MCU.
Give Disney
Don't-
time.
Don't do it, Justin. Don't do it. Don't even put it out there.
Although
dear.
Doctor Strange, played by Benedict Cumberbatch, who just did that, is in the Middle Earth universe as well.
That's true.
That's true.
All right, folks, what do you think this is? Because I have an idea, but I'll let you guys
Those are
go
tree
first.
roots. Those are tree roots, and they're going
It's
up.
Old Man Willow.
Ooh,
That
Old
would
Man
be cool.
Willow. Yeah.
Do we know
That
who's
would be
talking,
good.
by the way? Have we figured that out?
No.
No.
Well, the first narrator.
The first one, that was definitely Durin, but this one,
Durin,
I'm
All right,
not
yeah.
sure.
let me turn up the volume so
King.
we can figure this out.
King Durin, not Prince Durin.
Yes. That's Celebrimbor.
inside your mind.
Hold on.
A worm is his way inside your mind. The crest of him slithers in.
Wouldn't that be Celebrimbor speaking then?
I don't think so.
A worm is his way inside your mind. The crest of him slithers in.
Gilgalad?
Jason, you've met him. Does that sound like Hazeldene's
Crest
voice?
of him
It kind of does.
Okay.
It kind of does. That could be him.
That's the only returning character I could think of was because we haven't heard Hazeldene's voice, is if it's Adar.
Yeah, that's true.
Otherwise, I think it's one of the new characters.
But those roots are going after Celebrimbor.
Yeah.
Wait,
I thought maybe it was Kyrian Hines.
Sounds
No,
kind of like him.
I did
I
not
can
recognize.
maybe confirm that later
Well,
if I'm
here,
allowed to.
text him right now. He's your buddy.
Yeah, text him.
Dude, it's like 4 o'clock in the morning there.
What
You know I already
could
texted
he
him.
possibly be doing?
The
that's
trailer
more
just
important than
launched. You
this?
think he's sleeping right now? He's out partying right now. Trailer release night.
I know. I already texted him, but he's probably asleep.
Thank you for pointing this out. I did not recognize that. We got Celebrimbor, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's,
He's there. Yeah.
Yep.
Right there.
That's
And
definitely
we're-
him.
And we're in the forest of Linden. You can see the familiar lamps that are in the background, the elven
Okay.
lamps.
The lamps.
And I do appreciate Matt's earlier observation that this might be a sequence inside Celebrimbor's mind where Sauron is going into his mind to show him freaky hallucinations that are really terrifying. And we know that Sauron can do that. He did it with Galadriel at the end of season 1. So we might be seeing things that don't play out in the real world of Middle-earth, but
Yeah.
nightmare visions that play out within your mind when
Which
Sauron is interfering with your mind.
And
Yes.
it goes with the narration about he worms his way into your mind.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed, it
goes
does.
perfect with that.
And then we saw the worm
Indeed.
monster. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we saw the worm monster, then we saw the roots
And
that are
these-
acting
these-
like worms. So
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they're roots, but evil roots.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, let me present what Aerovandi in the chat room says. Legolas in the Two Towers said that elves awakened the trees.
Oh, that
They
was-
began it.
this,
That was
that.
way longer. That was way
that was
longer.
a
ago,
long,
though.
long
Yeah,
time
yeah.
ago.
Yeah.
So this isn't the elves awakening the trees.
This isn't an awakening.
No, because
No,
that would
this
mean
is a
Tree's been
nightmare.
Treebeard.
awake for quite some time.
Yeah,
This is a
Treebeard would
nightmare.
be super young if that
Yeah.
was the case.
Yeah.
We saw Ents in the prologue of season 1.
But we
Is
have the
this
narration telling us something evil is happening as we're watching something evil happen. Hence, it's something evil.
Well,
yeah, and
okay,
I think this is and I said in my what Cliff was alluding to earlier, I said, it feels weird to have such a sinister tree action happening, because like yes, they're on nobody's side because nobody's on their side, but
Right.
it would be kind of weird for them to be going after an elf like this of all the creatures in Middle Earth. So that's why I
Yeah.
think it's
Yeah.
Sauron messing with Celebrimbor. And I think there's later shots, particularly with Galadriel, that are part of this same sequence.
the Brown Eyed of Mandalore says Treebeard walked in Osirian.
He did.
Mm-hmm.
You did.
Justin, you're the Silmarillion expert. You know what that means.
Did I even say that word right?
You did.
Yeah.
But you know,
did.
You got
Tolkien
close.
Tolkien Wonder makes a good point. Never believe the trailers; they want to misdirect. That's
Exactly.
Yeah.
for sure.
Yep.
That's what we
That's
have to
also
remember. We
Right.
have to distrust the trailer when it comes to narration and visuals put together, because
And-
the first rule of trailer is misdirect, misdirect, misdirect.
Yeah.
Although I do think that in what is, I don't know, we're in Elfdom, so we're in Gil-galad's territory because there's the lanterns behind. So you're right. I still think moving tree roots is not necessarily normal in that sense.
Otaku Senpai, do not get ahead of us in the chat room. Don't talk about the giant sea turtles yet. We're not there. We're talking about the trees. Guys, stay
Sea
on
turtles?
topic.
Yeah, the giant. Yeah, well, I don't call it a tree turtle. I thought it was a ship sinking, but
Well,
it's not a ship
hold on,
sinking.
we're
It
not
has
there
teeth.
So I like what I'm seeing. There's orcs marching through Linden. Did we expect to see orcs.
I think those are
marching through
elves. I think those are elves.
No, those have the gate of orcs.
Oh, did they?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're walking
No,
way
those
too
are. There's a
rugged.
troll in the background too.
What?
Oh yeah,
Right.
there is.
Right.
Yep.
Right hand side.
Hold on.
Yep, you're right.
They have a tree troll.
What? You're.
Out. There's a troll right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right where?
Right there. He's
Yeah.
walking.
There sure is.
What? That's amazing.
So there's a forest troll. That's fun.
They have a forest troll.
Should have watched my breakdown, Justin. You'd know all this stuff.
That's why I asked you to come here, so I don't have to.
So you didn't have to.
I would have
My
watched
gosh.
it, but I was like doing work. Oh, I am sitting at my desk still, doing
All
my
right,
work.
folks. This was the one of the shots that created the most discussion. First off, we got Celebrimbor in not his green grandeur velvet.
But in Burgundy.
He is in a burgundy. So the green elf has turned into a burgundy red. Is that a visual cue of his change of persona or nightmare issue, or did he just change clothes?
It matches the scroll work on that balcony behind him. So it's also the same color.
Is this the new forge? Is this the new forge?
It could be.
Yeah.
Possibly.
And it could
And I think
be
the lighting is a lot of what's bringing out the
Yeah.
reddish orange
Yeah,
too.
because like from the back there, like there's almost like a little bluish hue to it.
I've got a feeling that this is after the Celebrimbor realizes who Anatar is.
I
Yeah.
think this
And-
is actually when he realizes who Anatar is. I think
that
this
could
is like the Sauron reveal for him.
Yeah.
Perhaps. Well, in a later shot, we see him pouring 9 rings into a fire, but that might be an effort on Celebrimbor's part to destroy those rings. But I can imagine Anatar going right into the forge, grabbing those 9 rings before they're melted, exploding the whole place, and emerging like this from the forge, ready to confront Celebrimbor, who ultimately knows the threat of who he is. That's a weird feeling I've got about it.
But when he's dropping the rings, the face is bloodied, so it's already bloodied, and
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
not bloodied.
That's a good point.
Good
Yeah,
point.
I mean he's
Good point.
completely ravaged when he's doing that, which means that there's a fight going on, and it's a last gasp to try to destroy them.
Well, if
Or to-
Sauron is not physically destroying this forge, then maybe this is a vision in Celebrimbor's mind.
I think it's teleportation.
Oh, okay.
Teleporno?
Well, no, it just seems like a wormhole is opened up, and there's this form, and I'm like, wow.
teleport. I thought it was teleporno. I thought we were talking about Celeborn. This is his triumphant return. No?
No.
That's
No.
not Celeborn?
I mean, unless we're gonna like go with some of those ridiculous rumors from a while back.
Is this the same forge that he at the end of season 1?
I don't know if it is
Possibly.
I think so. Why
But-
not?
But it also could be just his chambers. Because there's that staircase, and this may not be a forge at all. This may be.
Let's see. It feels
This
to me like
living
the same
chamber.
place, but
Well, I mean, like when we look at it, like the flames are definitely like forming an eye, and then the pupil is a person. So it's kind
Yeah.
of like what we saw with Sauron in Battle of the Five Armies.
mhm.
That was clever. And actually,
Yeah.
this looks better than Peter Jackson's Battle of the 5 Armies. I always thought that shot of Sauron making that eye thing with the flame looks too CGI and like took me out of it. This,
I figured it probably gave people seizures if it's the one I'm thinking of.
yeah.
Yeah,
when,
no,
like,
I'm
it's like
thinking-
those like 5 like quick zooms.
Or maybe I'm
So-
thinking
yeah.
of Desolation of Smaug. Maybe it's in Desolation of
Yeah,
Smaug.
yeah,
The
that
one with
one's
like
where
that one's like
Gandalf's
yeah,
Yeah,
oh,
that
yeah.
one.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
one was a little.
Whichever one.
That's
The,
yeah,
the
that's
one
the
that
one I'm
looks,
thinking of. That's like,
the one
And
that
there's
looks
little
like, oh my
flashes.
gosh. Yeah.
And there's little flashes of light along the edge of the portal.
Those
So
are
either
flames.
it's a physical passage, or it could be like how Gandalf's, or not Gandalf, Elrond speaks with Galadriel across distance. This could be a visualization of him from a distance, as opposed to actually walking into his, getting ready to walk into his presence.
These are
or-
definitely
or
flames.
hear me out here. Those flashes that we're seeing, maybe that's from Sauron hitting an anvil, and we're seeing him forging the One Ring.
Ooh.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Ooh.
But that would be
Or
in Mount
he's
Doom,
opening
though.
up the he's opened up the portal.
Yeah, or like this is a vision. This is
Right.
this is Celebrimbor's vision of Sauron creating the One Ring, which
Well-
is how he realizes that Anatar is Sauron.
Which everyone would have realized, everyone who was wearing one, because if I remember correctly, they mentioned how when he puts on the ring for the first time, they all can feel it. All the ring bearers can feel it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And you're right. This might
exactly.
be he
Yeah.
might have just put on.
Oh.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That was what I was thinking for that moment.
Yeah. Because there's
That
got to be a
actually-
visualization of that happen.
That would be
So
kind of
that-
cool, actually.
Yeah,
The
like that,
elves all, yeah.
and that was such a cool moment in the stories too. Like I really hope that they do something like that here.
Where
Is-
so Sauron creates the One Ring, and then the elves are made aware of him. And so you're saying this would be Celebrimbor and how he's made aware. So he like
Yeah,
This
kind of
is his.
sees a vision, like a window into what Sauron is doing, putting the
Mhm.
ring on his finger and the ring verse and everything. That would be
exactly.
That'd be
Wow.
pretty dope.
Is
Yeah.
Kinda
Celebrimbor
cool.
wearing a ring right now?
We can't
Well,
really
we
see.
see three.
You have
we
control
only-
of the screen, Justin. You tell us.
Well, the problem is we only
no,
see one
he is
hand,
not.
and the other one is off to the side, so we can't really see all the
Oh.
fingers.
I can't see the left hand, but he's got
Yeah.
nothing on his right hand.
Hmm.
All right.
Well,
Um,
and for those of you that were at the Hall H panel 2 years ago,
Mhm.
they opened up with that video sequence about the rings
Yeah,
and
that's really
the ring
cool.
verse and everything like that, and they had that powerful music behind it that kept pulsing through the whole
Mhm.
auditorium. And it was their way of telling you, like, when he put the ring on, this was how the entire world felt. And it just was like this huge pulse that just moved through the whole hall. And it was amazing. But it was their version of how we would have felt it.
Hmm.
My theory is this is when Doctor Strange opens the portal and Celebrimbor joins the Avengers Endgame.
Join
battle.
the Avengers.
Funny. Okay, let's move on to the next thing. If we're
Yes.
making Avengers jokes, we have time to
Yeah.
analyze the next thing.
It's time to go to the next thing when we start doing that.
All right, this is the hero
job,
shot.
Cliff.
Look
Here
at
we
this.
go.
This is long hair hippie. Helmet.
Anatar.
So, okay, here's the question. Is it Anatar, or is this Sauron masquerading as Celeborn, as they said in those
No,
story leaks from a while
Anatar.
back?
Who
100%
knows?
it's Anatar.
Yeah.
Why are
Yeah.
you guys
He's-
obsessed with the name Hanatar?
Anatar.
Because that's his
Anatar.
name.
That's his
That's his
name, man.
name.
That's
That's
the
what
name
Lord
that he
gives.
took for
That
like
was-
300 years.
That was the
That's-
name that should have been named last season. If you want to be
Mhm.
real honest, that was the
Yeah.
name that
And
he
look
should
at
have
his-
taken on when he was in
Look at
Aragion.
his outfit. It's the feathers, the same kind of feathers as what we see Elrond wearing, only it's black.
Mm.
Mhm.
You
And
know, so
There's
Yeah, and like we can see people running around in a panic. So like this is clearly like the sacking of Eregion.
I was just about to say that. There's
Mm.
signs of terror behind him,
yeah,
and he's
Yeah.
got that look on his face like he's just
Ha, ha, ha.
walking away from the exploding car with that
Mhm.
soft smirk on his face.
Yeah.
yep.
Guys, how do
Yes.
you feel about finally seeing Anatar on screen? Is this what you thought he'd look like? Is this everything? Does this fulfill your long expectations?
I mean,
All the
personally, for
fangirls.
me, like, we have to see it play out, right? Like, I'm
Yeah.
glad that it appears that we're getting Anatar because, like Cliff said, I really wanted that in season 1, and like that was one of the biggest letdowns for me was the finale and how rushed the rings felt, and they're, not done in order, and he's not really Anatar, like you
Yeah.
have this story in your mind from the books for years upon years that you're like, oh yeah, I want to see this,
Yeah.
and to not get that was really frustrating in season 1. So the idea of
Indeed.
getting it is very appealing, obviously. Now,
hmm
obviously, like the teaser, I felt like it was a really strong teaser overall. And did what a teaser is supposed to do, which is get you more excited than what you currently are, and it accomplished that for me. In the end, it's going to come down to like the execution in the actual episode. So it's way too early to pronounce like, yes, I am happy now because we're getting Anatar. Like, we got to see how it plays out. Hopefully, it's
Yeah.
good and it's
And
satisfying.
also this is Anatar in Sauron mode, because like this is clearly after his reveal, so it's like we're not really getting like, this is an Anatar.
Well, now I wonder if, so as the audience, right, are they doing sort of a quantum leap thing here where clearly that's Charlie Vickers? So we as the audience know that it's Charlie Vickers. And then, but is Celebrimbor going to see him and be like, you look like this other guy that I know, but no, he was a
that was
human.
like-
You know what I mean?
It's
So
the
like, how are we
Superman.
going to see that on screen?
It's the Clark Kent Superman, thing of
It's got the
how did they not know
long
Clark
hair.
Kent was Superman?
Got the
Yeah.
long hair, and they're
Maybe.
just like, oh,
But isn't Anatar supposed to have spent lots of time there?
yeah,
because-
300 years.
One of the narrations is that he was among us all the time.
Mm.
So
That's true.
this might be a phase where it's a different actor that we might see, because we know that there's different actors listed, that we might see a different actor portraying him. And as he's doing this walkaway while everyone is screaming, as he changes back into this form. So Anatar might actually be still a different actor.
Is this
Yeah.
Aragion?
Yeah.
I will
Yeah.
say, yeah. I
Oh,
think
yeah.
You're
it
in
is.
Aragon, but you're literally in the city of Ost in Ethil. That's where you are. In the region of Aragon. Yeah.
I will add, like, I am curious how it's going to play out. Like, if Charlie Vickers is Anatar, like Jason said, I mean, he looks just like Halbrand. So, that's got to come up in a conversation with
Right.
Celebrimbor,
Yeah.
presumably, which
Yeah,
leads
I
you
mean,
to
it-
wonder,
yeah.
like, did Galadriel not tell them, like, hey, that guy that was here, he's Sauron, so keep an eye out, which could
Well,
bring issues. But I
it-
will say, just from a purely like the actor standpoint, I'm kind of pumped to see Charlie Vickers portray Anatar, because my favorite part of his performance in the whole season was when he flipped the switch and became Sauron. I
Absolutely,
thought
yeah.
that was his best acting of the whole.
And in the behind
series.
the scenes clip, the actor himself says up front, well, this is more interesting because you see him out in the open and you see Sauron as himself maneuvering in the open.
And
So
making things happen. Yeah.
and hey, maybe there's no more mystery boxing, and there he is. But it is to the character's ultimate downfall that they don't recognize him. Maybe the audience is given a clue to see behind his veil, but the actors there within the room with him still don't see past the disguise.
So,
I would be cool
kinda
with
like
that.
to
Like
what-
if they, go ahead, Josh.
Yeah, sorry. I was gonna reiterate what you said earlier, where it's kind of like a quantum leap thing, where it's like we see Charlie Vickers, but they're seeing somebody else.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would totally be cool with that. I think that would be kind of a throwback to, like I said, to Quantum Leap or shows like that, where we as the audience know it's almost the complete opposite of what they did in season 1 to us, where we weren't supposed to know, and now we're supposed to know the whole time. That could be fun.
Yeah.
Maybe they're rewarding us. Maybe they're gonna give us a treat.
Yeah.
No more mystery boxing.
So we see him look in a mirror and there's a different face in the mirror. Is that what you're saying?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Or like we see Celebrimbor look at him at the first time, and it's clearly another actor, but then it flips back to him, and then it's him again.
Yeah.
The
The camera pans around his head, and he's a different guy.
There was a comment in
So
the chat room
cool.
saying this kind of like it's so unfamiliar to what we have seen in season 1 that is this another actor and they did a face replacement. I can tell you right now, no. knowing how good and bad face replacements are, this is the real deal. This is Charlie Vickers.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I
in
think
a
it's
beautiful
that's
long
Charlie Vickers in a
flowing
really
hair.
good wig.
And that looks better than Henry Cavill's long-haired wig in The Witcher season 1. I'm just gonna put that to bed.
Ooh, shots fired.
Cecilia in the chat room says, it answered my question, saying, because I asked you guys, is this the Anatar you always envisioned? Well, Cecilia said, just Google fan art Anatar, and sure enough, he definitely looks like all the fan art ever made for Anatar, for the most part. Long,
Yeah,
flowing,
he does.
long blonde hair. Yeah.
Yep.
deep
So,
dark eyes.
I'm gonna say like the vision of Anatar that I like the best is still what we saw in the Shadow of Mordor game.
It's really good.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Anatar
That
Shadow
yeah, like
of
the
Mordor?
cinematics. Yeah, the cinematics. You know, just watching the cinematics between Celebrimbor and Anatar from that game, like there's
were
some
so good.
there's some crazy stupid stuff with Shelob in the
Mhm.
game.
Well,
But,
that's Shadow
and
of
her
War,
skinny
that
little
game is
black
ridiculous.
cocktail dress.
but the
yeah.
but the Anatar Celebrimbor stuff from those games, like from that first game, is pretty flippin' legit.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
Shadow of War was a real letdown. Like, Isildur is one of the Nazgul. What are you? What?
Everyone's
forgot
a
that.
Nazgul in that game.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
Before we move on, I just want to say that I've misjudged everything because you guys keep talking about Anatar. You guys won't stop talking about Anatar for the last 2 years, and sure enough, this is not customized algorithmic trends. This is the real deal United States national trends. These are the organic trends. And look who trended. Anatar.
Wow.
Not
Yes.
Sauron.
Mm.
Not
Hell yeah.
Charlie.
Yes,
Anatar was number 17 on the national trending list, going to show that Anatar has a giant fan base. If the fan
What the
art
people
wasn't
want,
enough,
man.
Almost as much as Taco Tuesday. That's saying something. That's
Oh,
saying
yeah.
something.
We need to be out of here in time to go enjoy Taco Tuesday, right? Let's move on.
So
Yes.
Anatar, congratulations. I'm looking forward to meeting Anatar myself. There you go. On August 29th.
Yeah.
So I want to point out here, folks, that is Tar Miriel about to be pushed
Yep.
into the ocean.
Yep.
You think she's pushed, or do you think she
Falls
falls or jumps?
or jumps?
Well, you tell
yeah,
me.
come on.
What do you guys think? Push, jump,
Yeah, I
or
was-
fall?
I think she's getting pushed.
Which is interesting.
No.
Why would she get pushed so
Yeah.
early in
What's
the story still?
Why
Yeah.
would she get pushed? What? I mean, I got a feeling that she's lost her sight and there's just an unfortunate misstep. That's what
Well-
I'm thinking.
Mm.
The behind the scenes stuff has them on the shore with this sequence, and there's something behind Elendil. He turns around, everyone else is already looking out, so there's a ship coming, possibly Elvish, possibly the Faithful.
Interesting.
But
okay.
so maybe
wait.
this is just because there's also people down on the lower ledge.
Cliff, are you suggesting that this is a slip and fall, like it's an accident she falls in the ocean?
Remember, she's
It-
blind.
She's blind. I think that.
Well, yeah, but I mean, if she was blind, why would she randomly walk towards the ocean on a
On
cliff?
a wet rock.
I-
I would think someone would like maybe look
But
out.
you
for
also
I
see her
think,
going
think
down the
Farazan
stairs.
is
Now-
gonna give her just
Yeah.
a little.
there's a
push.
suggestion. There's a suggestion that this is a funeral rite for her father,
Yeah.
which is why
Yes.
they're out
Oh.
there.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes
Okay.
I
a lot of
could
sense.
also see this being
Yeah,
a
so-
vision because it, pretty soon we're going to see Muriel in the ocean with presumably her with a giant like sea monster, and I can see
Yeah,
that.
and she does
all
have
being a
visions. That's
vision.
true.
Yeah.
Mhm.
She has visions.
So do you
So
think
that's
this
her
is a
in the
vision?
water.
Yeah, the behind the scenes featurette is
Yeah.
more conclusive that I'm pretty sure that's Muriel.
Well, and also in the behind the scenes, that's where you also see her coming down the stairs in
Yeah.
the
The white.
the
yeah.
palace, and she doesn't have anyone helping her down. So you're kind of like, well, why is she doing that if she's blind? I mean, you'd think she would at least.
Do you
She
think-
was in the finale, she was rehearsing like in the ship how many steps it was from
Yes.
things, and Elendil was helping her with the
Yeah.
number of steps.
Do you think Numenor is an advanced civilization that they have workers' comp?
Stop it.
Moving
Okay.
And
on.
the elves
Moving
were
on.
going to take their jobs. So
That's why the elves want their jobs. It's
Yeah.
for the benefits.
They got
No,
great
we know.
benefits. That's why.
Yeah,
they're
let
trying to
me
take
be
their
clear.
jobs.
You think I'm joking? Why did they put that line in season 1? It takes us out of the fantasy by introducing these modern political concepts.
Because
Workers'
they
comp.
weren't smart. They weren't smart enough to really go into the whole immortality versus mortality argument that is the true crux of why
Yeah.
there's this
Yeah.
schism.
Yep, that's the true crux
We
of
are gifted with long life, but it's finite.
finite. Yes.
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
We got
Now, here's
Galadriel riding
here's
a
a
horse,
shot.
but
Galadriel riding on horses. Look at this beautiful English forest. Remember, everybody, they're not in New Zealand. All those mountains are added in digitally, while the forest, which is in the foreground and the side left, actually English forest, but the
Was
rest of
that
it's
Elrond?
CG added mountains.
Is that Elrond with her?
I
Yes, it would seem so.
Yeah.
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 Which makes me
Yeah,
wonder if that spells doom for all those other elves that were with them with the perhaps Barrow-wights.
Oh, and maybe they're the
If
only
they're-
ones who made it out.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Only two.
maybe.
Oh.
Maybe.
interesting. I appreciate this shot in the trailer because this also, by including this shot in the trailer, it addresses one of the biggest fan complaints of season 1. No more slow-mo for Galadriel on the horse.
Hey, you don't know though. The next shot could be slow mo again.
No.
Yeah.
It's just not in the trailer. There's
Yeah.
actually going to be 78 minutes of slow mo.
Trailers are misdirection.
This is a sped up. This is a trailer edit. It's just sped up.
Yeah. Exactly.
All right, folks. To be clear, here is Tar Miriel, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty
That's-
certain.
And I've been wondering who or what that was, because originally I thought that pointy thing was a ship that was sinking. But
Oh no, that's
but it's
a
got,
No, that's some
It's got
kind of
teeth.
monster.
yeah, it's a monster, but
Is that the Watcher in the Water from Fellowship of the Ring?
Maybe it's his daddy.
oh my.
I thought it might have been like, okay, so I go into this in my breakdown and it's kind of going down a bit of a rabbit hole, but
enough of the plugs of your breakdown.
no,
We
I'm just
get
saying
it.
because I feel like I'm repeating myself today a lot. And so like I feel bad.
This
if
is
people
your
are
fault,
watching this
Justin. You
that have
brought him
already-
onto a live stream
Yeah,
after he did his breakdown. You
right,
had to
so it's
expect
all
this.
in my head. It's all in my head. But to me, this shot, the person seems tethered to, like, there's definitely a chain or rope or something, and it kind of looks like, you know, their body might be tied up as well. And Muriel in the previous shot doesn't look like she's tethered to anything.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It could, like, I mean, it'd be kind of weird to have, you know, two separate, unrelated shots of people in similar positions in the water, I guess. But maybe they're unrelated, and maybe that is the Watcher.
But you can be tethered by just, a rope around your ankle.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, and
But
then it
the
would almost be like,
Yeah.
is this a sacrificial thing to this creature?
Yeah,
Okay,
there's
so-
a lot of people in the chat who do say that they see a line or a rope or something that is tied, and
Yeah,
if
I
there's
can see it.
if there's a human sacrifice happening where Muriel is being pushed into the water with like bricks or a rock chained to her legs, that's like
That'd be
Prohibition era mafioso
wild,
stuff
yeah.
right there.
That
Pretty wild.
yeah, like I'm thinking like
And
this
then
is
choose.
Farazan trying to get her out of the picture.
Oh my!
Or again, I think this could be a vision. I think the whole thing,
Ah.
like Muriel
Mhm.
on the cliff, falling in, and then encountering this monster, it could be like another vision. I
Yeah.
don't
Could
know.
be another another vision of hers.
Of what's to come of them. Yeah, because I think it's a little too soon for her to be gone.
Can I ask
We
you
haven't had
guys,
enough politics in Numenor for that to happen.
is there anything in the books, in the text, that says there is a human sacrifice?
Oh yeah.
And is this a human sacrifice? As
Human
Well, I mean,
sacrifices
there
are
were human
committed at the top
sacrifices.
of Menel Tarma at a special
Right.
worship
That's what I'm asking.
temple
Is,
for Morgoth.
Is there?
Yeah, but this is after they've captured Sauron and brought him
and he has
to Numenor.
exactly, and he hasn't been dragged back, agreeably dragged back as a willing prisoner. So Sauron doing all this and the human sacrifices, I would expect that to come in season 4.
So that's what I'm asking. Is this kind of human sacrifice not on an altar, but this, you know, is this human sacrifice something that's in the books? Either with Numenor,
like this?
Near
No.
it.
It's when Sauron is there working his evil. But I think this would be too early for human
the human sacrifices all happen in a temple.
So this is probably a vision of what's to come, which is the human sacrifice.
I agree, and I'm corrected that the Temple of Morgoth was not built on the top of Mount Meneltarma. My mistake.
Right. It was close.
Good to have that.
Someone just called this creature Sea Lob. All Cincinnati.
Sea Lob. That's funny.
Moving on. All right, we got our first look at Disa. She's back, baby. Lady Macbeth herself. And what is she looking at?
Something serious.
Something bad.
That's Daddy Durin right there.
Mm-hmm.
Daddy Durin digging up and seeing sunlight. Is that what he's doing?
It looks
Sunlight
like
is coming in.
Yeah. Well, that looks like fallen rock, and since
it
we've
looks
got
like there's
bridge with the
rocks
fallen rock,
falling.
it looks like he's at a place. The rock has just fallen, and now there's a hole in the ceiling.
Yeah.
He is not wearing a magic ring.
Yeah.
No.
Correct. All right.
Soon.
Well, he wears it on his right hand, as we see in a later shot.
Yeah.
Interesting.
When he has
All
the
And that
axe.
is his left hand.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh wow! What is this?
Falling rocks.
This is inside Khazad-dûm, yes?
Mhm.
It's a bridge of Khazad-dûm, not the bridge of Khazad-dûm.
Right. Yeah.
It's a bridge, but we're not mistaking this for any other location. This is in Khazad-dûm,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, that's absolutely
Yeah.
Khazad-dûm.
Yeah, totally. There's several
Okay.
bridges.
There was chatter.
But
in
I
the-
do like that kind of mirrors the shot from Fellowship of the Ring, where the one rock comes down and splits that staircase.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
There was chatter in the Discord that this is an intentional destruction. Do you think the dwarf leadership are intentionally destroying?
Well, look at the people on there. Maybe there's somebody that maybe they are trying to destroy it before whoever those people are get in.
Well, when
Get out.
Sauron brings his orcs and his forces to destroy Eregion, he goes after the dwarves as well, because the dwarves are trying to offer military assistance to their neighbors. So if they're going to get attacked, like we're seeing in this teaser shot, it might lead to the reason of why they shut the west gate and don't open it up anymore.
They just have to build the gate first.
That's true.
So,
Yeah,
did
that's
anyone else notice? Toward the if you go to like the second half of this shot, Justin, it looks to me like there is a shadow moving across the bridge.
It does.
Oh yeah. Are we thinking Balrog?
Yeah.
I was
looks like
wondering
there's a
that.
shadow moving.
It feels so early for the Balrog,
It really does.
I mean, they showed the
Too early.
Balrog last season.
but they showed it. Like I said, Chekhov's Balrog. It's got to go
Yeah.
off at some time.
The other thing I want to mention.
it is also possible that this is Sauron's attack, and that's like a troll.
I want to bring your attention to this plume of smoke that is before the rock crashes.
Oh.
So
Okay.
there is a plume of smoke which could be from a Balrog before this rock. Maybe it's other rocks, but there's on the top left there is another plume of dust and debris and smoke, and the smoke is black over here on the left side of the frame. The smoke is definitely darker black, like you would expect out of a Balrog. So
There's also
You're right.
Uh,
yeah.
there's also a possibility that this might be a mining accident, a terrible, terrible mining accident, which causes a lot of death and destruction within Khazad-dûm of the dwarves' own making, which, is a big part of season 1,
Part of
that
their
some
deal,
of the
yeah.
dwarves were being hurt or captured in a cave-in while they're, looking for this dangerous mithril. It's so dangerous to mine.
Can I
So
ask
there's a
you,
possibility.
Is this the process? Is this a creative narrative way to establish a reason for the Doors of Durin to be created?
Like the Balrog?
No,
I
the real
don't know.
reason in the books that the big doors of Durin were made was as a gesture of friendship and
Yeah.
cross-cultural working together with the elves and the dwarves. That's what that was all about.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not
and
as a
we do
defensive,
see,
not a
Yeah.
and we
defensive
do see
position.
Celebrimbor talking to Durin 4 again at some point. So
That's
Um,
that's in the behind the scenes thing.
yeah,
Mm.
but
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those things of
Yeah.
we have to get the gates of Moria, that west gate. We have to get that before we can have them lock it. You can't
Right.
lock something that doesn't exist.
Nathan in chat room says it's a false flag attack orchestrated by Anatar to sway the king to accept his ring gifts.
Ooh.
Hmm.
I think Durin
Mm.
the Third already has the ring. We saw him open the box. Remember? We saw
Yeah.
him. Like, he has the ring already. Is that in debate?
I thought didn't they have Mithril in the box?
Yeah, I thought it
Yeah.
was Mithril that was in the box. I didn't think it was a ring in the box.
I
Yeah,
think
'cause-
I think it literally was a mystery box, and they didn't commit to either of it. I thought the ring was
Yeah.
in there already.
But Celebrimbor hasn't made any additional rings other than the first
Yeah,
ring.
I think it's
Yeah.
mithril.
All right,
Yeah.
moving on.
Mm-hmm.
This is our first shot of our boy Elendil, King
Yeah.
Elendil, the guy that
And what the heck
dies
is going
at the
on?
hand of Sauron at the foot of the mountain. Who or what is he reaching for?
And why is he being restrained? Good question.
Mhm.
Muriel.
I think we're seeing the the big schism in Numenor.
He wants his job?
No. Haha. No, we're talking about the spiritual schism between the faithful and the unfaithful Numenorians.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So,
But this
where
could,
does he-
yeah, I think this could be in relation to the scene of Muriel falling, maybe.
Possibly. Yeah.
Which
maybe
means it
him-
could be
yeah.
part of a vision.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No, because in
Maybe
the,
him
in the
wanting
scene
to
with
save her.
Muriel, everyone's wearing white. Everyone's
Oh.
wearing white.
Yeah.
Is everyone okay?
Yeah.
Okay,
Well, I
well,
don't know
this
then.
could speak to something else that happens later on in the trailer, or something that I think might happen in the trailer that we kind of we'll get to it. But put a pin in this.
Let's go.
And move
Let's go to the
forward.
next thing. Let's go to the next thing.
Yeah.
Because we get a lot, we get Galadriel screaming, so that's fun.
In Linden?
And this is the one I was referring to earlier when I said I think it's part of Celebrimbor's vision. Like
Mm.
the lamps in Linden are red. Like why would else, that seems like a total vision kind of thing.
Okay.
I agree with that take.
We like
And-
it. We like to see
Right.
it.
That's a
there-
tasty,
Nice
tasty knife.
Nice little callback to Lurtz.
It is a definite callback to Lurtz. Thank you for saying that. It really is.
That's Lurtz's ancestor.
Nah.
Yeah.
And they're calling him Kurtz, as in the Colonel.
Oh dear.
Oh my goodness.
Actually, the other comment I've seen the most in all postings and tweets today is how pleased people are with practical prosthetic orcs in the show.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Constant comment on that all
And
day
people
today.
are wondering if this is a Jed Brophy reveal.
Mm.
I
I'm
think
not entirely
we-
sure.
I
mean,
yeah.
kind of looks like him.
It
I
kind of
don't
looks
think
like
Jed
him.
Brophy went to England, did he?
I don't think so. I don't. Yeah,
I
I
think
don't.
he went
know.
to England.
He didn't
don't
tell
know.
us he was part of season 1 either. We were all
Yeah,
shocked.
So we don't know.
Yeah, and by the
Yeah.
way, just throwing it out there, if Sam does text me back, I'm not saying jack. I don't want to get
Okay.
Sam in trouble. But if he does tell me
Fair.
if that's him narrating, you're gonna have to find out from someone else. I'm just throwing that out there right now.
Okay,
In about
that's
10
I'm
fair.
days'
not
time,
compromising
there-
my friendships. Or
in about
like
10
getting
days'
them in
time, we'll
trouble.
have a Torn exclusive reveal.
Right? Yeah. If you do that, do not get me in trouble either. You didn't get it
No,
from
not
me.
at all. Not at all. That's funny.
Hi,
Well,
Amazon.
because we
Thank you for
also-
watching.
Because I voiced the Uruk commander in Lord of the Rings: Rise to War, and he plays an Uruk. He's like, oh, we're on the same team. So like I've got an Uruk bond with him, that
Cool.
can't be broken.
That's so cool.
What'd you guys think of the text on screen? Darkness will bind them. I think that is one of the most celebrated, appreciated. Everyone can get behind this hype of darkness will bind them.
Well, that's a paraphrase of the Ringverse, but it
Yeah.
works.
I did like
even though it's a paraphrase, it is immediately recognizable. That's
totally works.
and yeah, they're leaning into the brand appropriately, leaning into our familiarity with the Ringverse. That's very good.
We're
very
looking at time. We're 1 minute into a 2-minute trailer, but respecting Matt's time, he's been here since the show started. Anything you want to focus on the trailer before you go?
Oh, that would have been good for me to have some closing thoughts before I run off, huh? Yeah, I mean, I think I thought it was a good trailer. Like I said, I think
that shot that he just showed is our first look at the hand of Círdan
the shipwright. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
Are we
so
sure
good.
that's
That's
Círdan and not
Yes.
Celebrimbor?
That's
Yes.
Círdan, and he's played by
I
Ben
think so.
Daniels.
Círdan, if they're going to do it correctly with the way it's
There
in
you
the
go.
books, and they're going to give that ring of fire
Nice
to Círdan.
beard.
Yeah.
And he should have a nice beard, elf
Yeah.
beard. The one
Yes.
elf with
I
a
didn't
beard.
realize Ben Daniels was playing him. That's really cool. I
Mm.
love I love seeing him when he shows up and stuff.
Yeah, you'll get to it here in a bit. I loved seeing Elrond in all armored up and leading
yeah.
troops into war because I really enjoyed seeing him as, the kind as Summer as he's described in the books. But
Kind of summer Elrond.
but
Yes.
yeah, we got some of that, especially with him and Durin, and I loved seeing that in season 1. Elrond was one of the highlights for me of season 1 for sure. But yeah, I'm excited to see him kind of throw down and ride to war. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
And you can see a couple shots of him in the oh, and I'll give you this little tidbit. I'm pretty sure I counted correctly. There are 9 rings there that Celebrimbor is dropping.
Yep,
am
you did.
pretty
You
certain.
counted right.
Well, and the thing
One,
is
two,
when you
three,
close
four,
in
five,
on the face, is it really Celebrimbor and not somebody else?
I'm pretty
No,
sure
that's
it's
Celebrimbor.
Celebrimbor.
That's
Yeah.
That's
Celebrimbor
him.
for sure.
Okay.
But yeah,
Uncle
I'll see
Brimby.
if I keep going, then you're gonna have me on here for another hour. But yeah, I'll just say I really like the teaser. I thought if the job of a trailer is to increase your hype level, it definitely did that for me.
Yeah.
For
Agreed.
sure.
Agreed.
I'm excited by a lot of the stuff that we saw, especially, predictably the stuff that speaks directly to stuff that we know from the books, like Anatar and Elrond, leading forces from Linden in aiding Eregion. Yeah, so it definitely communicated that the lines that we've heard about season 2 being more for the book fans and getting more of the book stuff that fans of the books were looking for. So yeah, we'll see how it turns out. I'm sure we'll have at least one more big trailer to talk about at some point here in the next 3.5 months.
And
yeah,
before I let you go, you and I were texting about there was a leak last night. Leaks come in fast and hot. The leak last night was about this eagle. It turned out to be partially true.
Yeah, it wasn't really true what you texted me.
Yeah, it was posted to Reddit. So Torn is not claiming this leak. I'm giving it to Reddit. Shout out to Varking and the whole Reddit community over there.
Giving it to him because it was wrong. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm just saying it was sourced on Reddit, but the leak was that Farazan rides Gwahir. That doesn't seem to be happening.
No.
That's not what's happening there.
Nobody's
No,
right.
no, no,
Gwahir
no.
can't be
I
that
have
old.
very different thoughts of what's happening here.
Yeah,
Everybody
Gwahir's not
has
that old.
corrected me and said that he's not getting ready to ride. He's getting ready to kill that eagle.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah,
He's getting ready
you see him
to
pull the sword out.
stab the Herald of Manwë.
The very next
Oh.
shot is going to be him turning around and just slashing at him.
Interesting.
To our horror.
Yeah.
To our collective horror.
Which
Well-
calls
Yeah.
back to that shot of Elendil screaming. That's
Mm.
him reacting to that.
Oh, okay.
I hope he
Wow.
misses.
Oh,
I hope he misses. I hope he
good
tries.
point,
and
Josh.
misses.
Good point.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
That's
Well, we're
interesting.
sorry to lose you, Matt, nerd of the rings, and it is always delightful to have you with us on Torn Tuesday. I know you've got a family waiting for you. You got to get going, but thank you for the generous amount of time you spent with us and parsing these details. Thank you
Well,
for being
it's
with us.
always a pleasure to chat with you all, and yeah, we'll be doing a lot more chatting. We'll be hanging out in person at
Mm.
Comic-Con before you
We
know
shall.
it.
Yay!
So yeah,
And
Well,
check
once
out
we
his
get our panel confirmed.
and check out Nerd of the Rings trailer breakdown. It is. I just looked at the views. It's one of the fastest growing videos you've ever put out,
It's-
Matt.
it's pretty. Yeah, I don't know where it stacks up to like my episode breakdowns. Those were pretty darn good, but I'm looking at it right now. It's 5 hours it's been up, and it's at 72,000 views. So
That's amazing.
That's pretty darn good.
Nice.
So I'll take that all day.
That's amazing. Well
Awesome.
done. Well
Nice.
done.
Good job.
All right.
Send him a-
Well,
send him
thanks,
a follow.
guys.
Thanks, Matt.
Bye, Matt.
See ya.
Have a good
Bye-bye.
night, brother.
All right, Nerd of the Rings had his say. So let's go back real quick. Where were we? We were Darkness Bind Them. We just showed
We were
you
at the Hands on the Rings.
The Hands of the
Círdan.
Rings.
Again, that's the hand of the man, Círdan. Ben Daniels.
That's right.
Ben
That's
Daniels.
right.
Nice.
That is
Is-
a dad joke.
The most famous hand on the internet today. Yes.
So that is your Círdan. We can confirm that here today. Thank you very much. All right, moving on.
That's a great choice.
We've got
The tree is aging.
The tree is aging. You can see it immediately. turning
Changing from
orange.
green to orange leaves.
Yep.
There's your first dwarven ring of
There's
power.
a dwarven ring.
And that is the chonkiest chonk of a sapphire
Yeah.
since the crown of the Windsors. That's a chonk
You
of
know,
a sapphire.
And that's I kind of like that continuity there, because like when we saw Thror's ring in the Hobbit trilogy, that was also a pretty chunky ring.
It sounds like a dwarven thing that they would just go for like a raw gemstone
Mm-hmm.
and put that onto a ring,
you know,
as opposed to something refined.
something I just noticed upon viewing right now, folks.
Mm.
At the bottom of this frame, on the very first frame, he is selecting from 3 options.
Ooh.
Look at this. There is a green
It could be
ring,
more. We're
a
only
red
seeing
ring,
3 options.
and
Yeah.
a blue ring. How many rings for dwarves were there?
7,
7.
7.
All right, so we got a blue, a green, and a red in this shot. He is choosing a ring.
Yeah.
So we have confirmation right now that the Dwarven 7 rings are in this season. I'm going to call it right now.
I mean, if we saw the 9 earlier, then we're definitely going to get the 7.
Well, and then the point becomes, because the dwarves are in different regions around Middle Earth. So can we presume that some of those that he's either already passed out some to the other dwarves, or
Yeah.
that maybe they're
Or
all
that he hasn't gotten to him yet, and because Durin is so close, he gets first dibs.
Right, he gets the
Yeah.
first one.
And remember, folks, the number 7 of the 7 rings for dwarves, the number 7 is a prime. That is a prime number of rings, brought to you by Prime Video.
There you go.
Oh my
Perfect.
god.
As is
Leaving.
3.
Perfect.
As is 3 and 1. The only one that's not prime is 9.
Okay. Very funny.
Because men are too greedy and desire power. I don't know.
Exactly.
Here's
do you
our
guys-
first reappearance of Arondir.
Yeah.
What do you guys
This-
think of this
Doing
Legolas?
a
And
little
that's
Legolas
Isildur
move
behind
there.
him. That's Isildur behind him.
Yeah, there's Isildur with him. Now, here's the best thing about this, is that we were wrong. It just makes me so happy to know when I'm wrong and to say I'm wrong. And I'm so glad to have been wrong about this particular thing. Hello, and welcome back, Ismael Cruz Cordova. Lovely, lovely man. Great to have you back as Arondir. Lovely stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
our
Great
early
stuff.
leaks and rumors that Arondir Ismail was not on set for most of the filming, And here he is in the first trailer, and he is name dropped in the press release, as we talked about at the top of this segment.
Oh, yeah.
So
A lot of people said that he shot stuff in Los Angeles and didn't really shoot too much on location in the UK. And I don't know what that means. I didn't know there was second unit stuff shooting here in Southern California. I didn't know that. But
Now, does that-
that's what I've heard.
Does that mean that he's in Griffith Park right there?
Nah, makes you wonder.
Oh yeah.
Makes you wonder.
mean-
And of course, that,
Yeah,
my friends,
could
is
be.
Isildur. To the shock of myself, he is not dead. If you remember at the end of
alive.
season 1, Isildur
He's
was dead,
alive.
and Elendil, his father,
And
was
to the no-
grieving for his dead son.
And
Yes,
to the shock
because-
of no one except for Justin.
Yeah, because there is no other movie where Isildur shows up later in life.
Look, I don't know. Like this show can do whatever they want. So Isildur is back, and I am thankful that he is included in this trailer. So welcome back,
It's a
Isildur.
joke. It wasn't a shock.
Welcome back,
So-
Isildur.
Very good. Now, there's Numenor. Gorgeous at nighttime. I love those nighttime shots in season 1, but it's also gorgeous in the daylight. And you know how strongly this recommends to me the outcropping from Mount Mindoluin at the very, very top of Minas Tirith,
I
the
was
very
just
top.
thinking that. Yeah.
where
Yeah.
Pippin and Gandalf have this long conversation about the line of kings fading, and they're just looking to the shadows in the east. But that structure reminds me very much of what we're familiar with in Minas Tirith.
I was just
Yeah.
thinking that, like
At
how
the
familiar
Citadel
that
level.
was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's all that beautiful artwork.
This
And I
one?
remember when they first released
No.
pictures.
And then there you got the beacon.
No, Justin, move your circle
think it's
down
on it.
towards the center. All the way
Lower.
down to the center,
There.
and that thing coming
There.
out to the left. That's it.
Yeah.
That whole that
Oh, this
long thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're-
the
we're-
thing that looks
we're a
like the
f-
prow of a ship.
Yeah, where a
Mhm.
flaming Denethor runs to his death.
Yeah.
Okay, and there's a white tree right in the middle here.
Indeed.
Mhm.
Indeed.
So is it? You said Numenor. What makes you say this is Numenor, not Eregion?
Because
Because
that's,
it was
we've
Numenor
seen it.
in the last film.
Yeah, we've seen it already.
We've
last
we've seen
season.
it. That's Numenor.
Yeah,
is
yeah.
this Gwahir?
Ugh,
No,
I don't think
because
so.
if he's going to be killed by Pharazôn, then that would not be Gwahir, who would be alive centuries later.
And I don't
Yeah.
think that Gwahir would be, 3,000 years old. 4,000
I'm still
years old.
hoping that he jumps out of the way,
Me too.
and that it like shows Pharazôn's folly.
Depravity
Yeah.
and folly.
Or,
yeah,
or like
yeah, yeah,
at
yeah.
worst he wounds him, but doesn't kill him.
Right.
Oh my goodness, I fear for that eagle.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think of the early rumors that Torn reported exclusively that the eagles talk in this show?
That is fine. They talk in the books.
Yeah.
They're talking the books. Yeah.
Do you think there's a dialogue here?
No, I think there's I'm going
No.
to kill this bird in front of all the people.
It's like this starts off as a scene with like Pharazôn saying that he's trying to bridge the gap, so like he's brought in this emissary from the Valar, an eagle, and then just slashes at him. And that's when all hell breaks loose.
Okay. So, do
Yeah.
you? I draw a line. Everybody in our Discord is unanimous in you can kill all the humans and dwarves you want, but I do not want to see the death of an animal on screen so violent
It's fair.
as that.
Especially a giant talking animal.
Yeah.
And I like
But especially in
Otaku Senpai's statement. He goes, they would be very good messengers if they couldn't speak. And the
Indeed.
eagles are the messengers of the Valar.
Mhm.
Indeed.
Interesting. Well, if they want to elicit an angry reaction and get us against Pharazôn for the rest of the show, they would
Yeah,
do.
you're right.
They would do
That-
what you're suggesting.
That sure is one way to do it. But you
One
know
major
what?
way to do it.
He can do it with just the attempt. He doesn't need to actually follow through.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then before we move on, I just want to say my initial reaction, guys, to this shot right here. Our Pharazôn is Red Leader standing by. He looks like he's about to pilot an X-wing and take on the Death Star. I mean, just look at that outfit. I mean, he's got this red long sleeve, like red leader standing by, red 6 standing by, and come on.
Well, except for one is good and this one not so much.
All right, red leader.
I
That's
mean,
what
he
I'm
is
calling
wearing red,
Farazan from
so.
now on. Red leader.
Okay, funny.
All right.
Moving on.
Moving
Moving on.
forward.
We've got a lot to get through, and it's
Crying
7:39.
Crying Theo.
All right, Theo is crying.
Your future Witch King of Angmar is crying.
His
Okay.
seal
Do you
door
think
is
he's
beat
actually
up.
going to be the Witch King? Because doesn't he have to have power?
I'm just sticking with this stupid theory that I've had since season 1.
Okay.
I'm just sticking
Let him
with it.
cook. Let him cook.
Like this is one of the things that I've had a problem with since season 1, and that's that Theo and Isildur look so similar that for a while I thought Isildur was just like Theo as an adult.
Oh.
Oh.
Oh,
Interesting.
okay.
Interesting.
I mean, I
But
don't
how
know.
could that be?
I know that there's no
in the same
intention
scene.
behind that, but like it kind of like it kind of messed with me when we saw like the first trailer for season 1, because like I thought, oh, this is the same character grown up, but
yeah.
no,
Well,
they're two different
it's not.
characters.
I want to jump in. Okay, Theo is crying, and then I want to jump
And-
to.
And the behind the scenes shows Arondir lighting
Is
a
it not
beer.
in this trailer?
No,
Okay.
it's in the behind the scenes sequence where
All right,
you see
I don't know.
Arondir lighting a fire or beer, whatever you call it when you set somebody who's dead.
A pyre.
Pyre. Yes.
Like Darth,
Mhm.
like Darth Vader at the end of Return of the Jedi.
Like a lot of people in a lot of different cultures.
Well,
Yes.
so we don't have, I don't think we have time to go through the second BTS trailer that is
Yeah.
longer than this, but as Kathy was just describing, there is another shot of Arondir in front of a funeral pyre, and you definitely see a body there burned.
And his narration is about how this cuts to the core of that this is a cut to his soul. And that darkness touched him. That is the way. And actually, that's Ismael Cruz Cordova saying that, not the character. It's him saying that the actor saying that things happen that
Yeah, Ismail says Arondir is dealt the biggest blow to his spirit thus far.
yeah.
Well,
And so
folks,
I'm pretty
we
sure
can-
that means Bronwyn is gone.
we can confirm that Nazanin Boniani, the actress that played Bronwyn, posted today that she stepped away from acting in September of 2022 upon the release of Rings of Power Season 1 to focus solely on the women life freedom uprising in Iran and to advocate for the people of my homeland who have been risking everything for freedom. So,
Indeed.
based on this
Indeed.
statement from Nazanin
Yeah.
Boniani, the actress, we can confirm that Bronwyn is dead, and they writers have carefully crafted the narrative around Bronwyn dying and how that will affect Arondir.
Yeah, because obviously Adar they recast. They could have recasted her if they had some sort of strong storyline for a romance, but her dying probably works
Right.
in their favor for Theo's.
Probably, yeah.
And they have no problem recasting actors because they've done it twice already
Hmm.
with Celebrimbor.
But we would
with
assume
Adar.
then that funeral pyre is that character's funeral pyre.
Yeah.
It's an interesting assumption, and it is reasonable, but we don't know for sure.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
We don't know
and
for
based
sure.
on the additional comment from Ismael Cruz Cordova saying a great
Mm,
loss
indeed.
befalls him.
Indeed.
So
All
there you
right.
go. There's a seal door.
All right. That
And look at
explains
this.
a lot of that.
A siege of Aragion.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Hmm. With trebuchets spitting
Oh yeah.
fire bombs into the night,
And Adar
peppering the
leading
sky with fire.
it.
Yes.
And Adar is leading it.
Jason,
He
what do you
seems to
think
be,
about
yes.
finally seeing your boy in character?
It's cool. I actually thought that they would try to make him look more like Joseph Malway, like that, especially because he had prosthetics. I thought that they would just try to, just do as best they could to make him look like the other actor. But You can see that it's a different actor, and you can see that it's him. It's cool.
Yeah.
But
Which is why there's a scene in the other. Actually, no, it comes later on in this, I think.
No, it's in the behind the scenes one where they show him more as an. It seems like they're showing him more as an elf. His hair's a different color.
Yeah. That's the scene where I was like, is that Arondir? Until I saw the chest plate, and I was like, oh yeah, it's Arondir. Adar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And to be clear, folks, it's not a big issue that they replace the actors. In fact, I believe Sam Hazeldine, this actor, and the original actor Joseph Mawle are friends, and they're co-workers, they're friends. They talked with each other, they communicated with each other before he took over the role. It was a fine handoff. It was just Joseph decided to pursue other opportunities like the giant TV series called Yellowstone and some other opportunities. So we wish Joseph all the best, and we hope he hits the convention circuit soon, because I want his autograph on a headshot of Adar, and I want Sam to do well in this role. So we're really excited for both of them, but especially Sam right now.
Yes, welcome Sam, and he's doing such great stuff on that other show where he plays your grandfather.
Yeah,
Jason. Yes.
Yeah,
he's doing so great on that other
surreal.
show.
It's pretty surreal.
I still have only watched one episode of Masters of the Air, but I really like it.
Yeah.
It's it's Steven Spielberg and Tom Hanks, and you know, paying tribute.
And if it were on a streamer I had access to, I'd watch it, but I don't have access to it.
It is on Apple TV, and Sam is in the last 3 episodes. He plays a prisoner of war. He's a pilot, a legendary U.S. Air Force pilot that is shot down and put in a prison camp, and he turns out to be the craziest, baddest guy in the camp who can kill 10 ways to Sunday.
Nice.
Is that accurate?
Well, yeah, the Nazis actually called him the most dangerous man in Stalag Luft 3.
Wow.
He went to West Point, and back then the Air Force was called the Army Air Corps. It was part of the Army. It wasn't actually its own division just yet. Right after World War II, it became its own standalone division. But so he had a lot of hand-to-hand combat training that he learned at West Point that the other pilots didn't. And so he taught that to his fellow pilot prisoners just in case they needed to use it. And the Nazis were pretty afraid of that. So,
before we move on, I just want to. This is a great time to ask. Like, what's it like meeting an actor that's playing your grandfather?
It was a little surreal, but he was really great. You know, we had a mutual friend that introduced us, so that made it a little easier. And he sent some messages to my family, and they sent him back messages of support and things like that. And we were really happy with the way he was portrayed on screen, and Sam's performance, and so yeah, it was a really special time for the family for sure.
And in a weird coincidence, Jason's grandfather, who ran the Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs, taught my uncle how to fly. So, he was in charge of the base, but they were at the same time, and shared an elevator. All right, now we're moving on to finally possibly our second shot. We already determined that Rune is where those wizardettes end up as moths, but now
the mystics of Sauron, the mystic acolytes of Sauron. Yep.
Is this Rune?
If it looks like the set of The Mummy, and you don't see Brendan Fraser, and you see this guy instead, you're in Rune.
That's very specific, but yes.
All right.
Glad to be of help.
At a well. No, is there a Hobbit girl with him?
We don't see her.
That's her. That's her in the wind. That's her blasting in the sand wind.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
That is Markella Kavanaugh herself.
Yeah, because you see her in the behind the scenes saying that she's glad to be back, and
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because my comment was, were these two related? But of course, these two images are both deserty, sandy.
They're definitely in
Dry.
the same spot because the well is on the left of the frame here,
Yeah.
the same round well.
Yeah.
So
Well,
the
I mean,
question is,
I'm glad. I'm just glad to see them because I seem to remember when we got some story leaks a while back, they were saying that the Stranger and Nori would not be in this at all.
And again, it's nice to see that they are.
Mm-hmm.
there you go. All right, and then we've got.
I have a feeling we're not going to see the rest of the Harfoots, though. Maybe
Maybe.
that's
Yeah,
what I'm not going to
yeah.
see.
Yeah, the Harfoots are done as far as this season. There is a rumor.
Yeah, because when they took off, because their story was not her story.
Yeah, their story is not really like tied to too much else.
Cliff,
in
we had a
Second
leak,
Age.
did we not? We had a leak that although the Harfoots are no more for the show, that's not the end of the Halflings because the Stores will be making their debut in season 2. This is a leak. We don't know for
Really?
sure.
Okay.
We don't
was
see
a
it.
big old juicy leak. Yes.
Okay.
But the
All
rumors are that the wizard and the girl come across some stores. And they
Okay.
are halflings. And as Tolkien described, there were 3 ancient races of halflings.
Mhm.
Stores,
Proto hobbits.
proto-hobbits, Harfoots, Stores, and...
Fallowhide.
Fallowhides.
Fallowhide.
Fallowhides.
So
yes.
we're gonna
Now,
we've
which-
got the Harfoots. We're gonna see Stores this season. Quite possible we'll get the Fallowhides in a future season.
Which proto hobbit line was Smeagol from?
He was a store.
It was a
Yeah.
store.
Was okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
What?
But
Ooh.
Bilbo and Frodo, I believe they're all Fallowhides.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That is true. Yep.
The first chapter of The Lord of the Rings concerning hobbits.
Concerning
Mhm.
hobbits.
All right.
The prologue, the prologue before chapter
Yeah.
1. Yeah. Absolutely good stuff. Essential stuff. Now, I want to ask you guys, double fire shot arrow Galadriel.
Uh-huh.
That is badass and really cool.
Yes. Yeah.
Really cool. Double fire. I mean, we had double arrows from Legolas all the time, but now
Yeah.
we've got double fire arrows. That's a nice
Yeah.
upgrade.
Yeah.
Upgrades. Now,
Galadriel's like, yeah, okay, we see you, Legolas.
but we've got centuries and centuries to go for Saruman develops what would be the earliest form of gunpowder that was used at the Battle of Helm's Deep. So right in the next shot, right after this Galadriel shooting double arrows, is a massive explosion. And I want to ask, why do we keep having explosions in medieval films that represent like the Bronze Age or before the Iron Age, if you will? I know that's incorrect, but
You think
it's
things
also
didn't
like,
blow
why do
up?
we have gunpowder everywhere, blowing stuff up?
Because it looks pretty.
Because it's cool. It looks cool. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. No.
Maybe it'll be oil or something.
Oil. Yeah. Okay. All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Bring
Some
wood and
medieval
oil.
flammable.
Yeah. I mean, actually,
Object,
doesn't the
yes.
ground look a little bit moist underneath these orcs?
It
So maybe.
does. It definitely
Or
does.
maybe it's orc grog. That stuff is probably highly flammable.
Or maybe it's
Well,
unrelated
actually-
and it's just good editing.
Okay. All right. Before with the bombing of Eregion with those big fireballs. So obviously there is some sort of tar or oil that they're using on those
Yes.
big bombs, and she is going rogue, and she's
Oh,
the enemy
cool.
and
Cool.
blowing up one of the trebuchets.
Kathy, what an excellent idea. Excellent. Excellent. That's probably really cool.
That's
Um,
that's a total Galadriel move, don't you think?
Yeah, I would say. Now, how cool is this helmet design on Elrond?
The whole
How
armor
cool
is
is this?
awesome.
It's so awesome. Yeah, I love it. I love it. I think it's great.
Yeah. I love that
Can,
design.
can I dissent here and say I thought that it would take more seasons for Elrond to become the battle worn general that we know he becomes. I enjoyed his season 1 kind of bookworm pacifist friend nature, you know, where he's
Kinda
just
summer.
kind of like a librarian. I was a fan of that, and I'm kind of shocked to see him in this capacity already.
But do you
in
want
season
him,
two.
what, just hiding out somewhere and not fighting? I mean, if they're going to have a battle, does it make sense for him not to be included?
And
Does he-
also, who's to say that this isn't his first battle?
Yeah.
Well, I was just surprised to see his character arc go this violent so quickly after season 1.
I don't think
Well,
he
I
had
mean,
a choice. I
Arabian
mean,
was-
you can't
was
choose when a war
attacked.
happens.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All
Yeah.
right, fair enough. One of the complaints of season 1 was not enough extras on screen, and looks
they
like they solved
stepped it
that.
up, didn't they?
Yeah, I sure did.
Uh-huh.
Because I will say, when Numenor invaded, I was like, oh, cool! It's like 30 people on horses, great.
Yeah.
But they took the notes.
They took the notes.
Yeah.
They are listening, folks. This trailer is full of listening to fans. All right. Wow. What is going on here?
The rings?
It's rings. It's
Is
the
this
9.
all part of the same scene?
Who knows?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so.
All right, we already pointed out that he's battle worn and he's all been a bloody. His face is
Yeah,
bloody.
he's all bloodied.
And Matt pointed out there are 9 rings. He counted 9 rings in this fall. Is this the 9 rings of men?
Maybe we are to assume that Celebrimbor is disgusted with the influence that Sauron has had on all this ringcraft, and coming to the ultimate realization that no good can come of this. He is
Well, but
seeking
he's-
to preemptively just toss them and burn them.
Well, and it looks like he's been through a fight. I mean, he's bloodied and dirty.
Oh yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you know, that bombardment, maybe that bombardment's already going on, and he's like, oh no, I've got to get rid of these before he breaks in.
Yeah. Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm reminded of this scene when Samwise yells at Faramir and tells him the truth about Boromir, about his brother, and Samwise says, "And he tried to take the ring."
Drove him crazy.
There's whispers of this, like he knows, Celebrimbor knows what's gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
So this is really cool. All right, and then
And
here
so
we
maybe
have.
this next scene is part of the same section. Actually, no, wait. Okay, so you see Anatar here, but go to the scene where you can see the others, the elves. That's Celebrimbor in the back, right there in the middle, and he's got an
not
injured
as
left
bloody.
hand.
Yeah.
And he's got an injured left hand.
It's
Okay.
not injured. It's missing. His left hand is missing. It's cut off.
Really? You mean like
believe.
Luke Skywalker just getting that hand chopped?
Yep.
Although that was his right hand. Luke's right hand.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So he's holding. Yeah. So yeah. And then this is stuff's going down here.
All right. So is this taking
Well, either
place?
it's missing or it's bandaged. I wouldn't
Mhm.
go so far as to say it's missing. It's too hard to tell.
It
But I
also
would-
could have been burned in the fire.
Yeah, I would say it's bandaged.
Yeah.
Wow. All right.
So another thing I noticed in this shot, Anatar actually looks blonder than he did in that first shot that we saw of him towards the beginning.
Yeah. Although we've got more light now, so
We do have more light, but like I mean, there his hair looks almost like sort of brownish reddish.
well, like I said, I think he's shapeshifting.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, or that
So,
could
like,
just be colorization.
It could be,
yeah.
but like
Lighting,
it's
yeah.
possible. Like this is like them. Like this is the first like Anatar, we know who you are scene.
Yeah.
He is wearing that leaf, dark leaf outfit that he's in that earlier shot where he's walking through the courtyard.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
The black feathers. I think he's like a crow.
Does anyone else think this will be a banner season for Celebrimbor?
Stop it.
So-
Stop
That's
it.
too soon.
Stop it. Wow.
Okay, so I think this is clever editing here. I think this shot and the next shot are unrelated completely.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
They are. They are.
Because look, he's twisting his hand and the elves twist.
He's making the elves fight against each other.
I think
Mhm.
it's worse than that, Cliff. If you look at the
Yeah,
elf
you see
on the
somebody
left,
turns.
they are committing
Yeah.
seppuku. For those that just watch Shogun, you slice your belly open. It's a
They-
suck.
That's as opposed to fighting each other.
as
Yeah.
opposed to killing your friend standing next to you. Well, in either case, Sauron is exhibiting some incredible powers that we didn't see in Fellowship of the Ring or in the Hobbit trilogy or anything. We're
Yeah.
seeing
Because he
Sauron.
was incorporeal
you know.
and now he's corporal.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
this is like telekinesis where you can force through psionic power someone else
Yeah.
against their
This
will.
this is not something that I think Sauron. This isn't a power I think Sauron had in the books, like in the Silmarillion.
Mm.
I don't think he did. Like his.
Well, did they ever list all of his powers?
Well, I mean, Tolkien said that his main power was shapeshifting.
Ah,
We did have mind control in the movie trilogy between Saruman and Theoden, but that is not a Sauron
That's-
power. That was
that's
Saruman.
different. Yeah, that's different.
Right.
That was Saruman.
Then again, I mean,
powers.
for someone who's supposed to be that powerful, I think it's left open to interpretation.
Yeah,
I
fair.
kind of think that that's a lesser power than shapeshifting.
So let me ask you this, guys. Sauron getting powers that you've never thought of or heard before. Is this out of line? Is it too? Are you encouraged by this, or what?
I'm indifferent to it, honestly.
Yeah.
I'm just. It's interesting.
But
He's
to be
supposed
honest,
to be
like-
powerful, and what we're seeing is how dangerous a being he is, and
Mhm.
so he needs to be formidable. And if he can't be a one-trick pony.
Yeah, and if they want to make up
shapeshifting and
powers,
being able- yeah.
yeah, that's something that's like as someone who I consider myself, a book loyalist or someone who's studied the books quite a bit. If you want to give Sauron like cool like mind control powers or telekinesis or whatever for the screen, I'm way cooler with that. You know what I mean? Like you can do that. And that's not going to upset most book purists
Because just shape-shifting really, what does that accomplish?
Did
Well, if-
Sauron
I mean,
put
he
a
accomplished
spell
quite a
on
bit, to be honest.
Thrain?
Like he was able to infiltrate a Region and create.
No,
the
no,
rings.
I get that, but infiltrate. If shape-shifting is the only power, you can infiltrate all you want. So unless you're going to physically walk up and slice people open,
No,
there
I mean,
has to be more.
I get it. Like I'm not saying like I wasn't trying to say like shapeshifting was his only power. It was his
Yeah.
main power. Like it was.
What do you guys
yeah.
think about Robert Hill in chat saying Sauron apprenticed to Iule? He has power over metal, and he has
Ole.
powers like Magneto. Is Sauron
that
Magneto?
So he's moving the swords, as opposed to mind control.
Is Sauron
Okay.
Magneto?
Okay,
That
that's
works too.
interesting. That's interesting.
Magneto powers, and who knows? Who knows? I am reminded by Otaku Senpai in the chat that in the Hobbit trilogy, Sauron put a spell on Thorin's father, Thrain,
Oh yeah.
which
That's true.
assisted in him being held captive in Dol Guldur by his own madness, the madness of the spell. So yeah,
And that's something that I
Yeah.
think is in Tolkien's lore.
yeah.
That
I
Thrain
like
was
the
driven bad.
I like the idea that Sauron controls metal like Magneto, and he's not controlling minds all at the same time.
Mm.
Yeah.
All right. So let's
Okay.
see.
Cool,
Let's
cool.
see.
And then
Right.
we
Now-
have
We have this hard edit to the creation of this ice palace. And I wish Matt, Nerd of the Rings, were here to make the joke, because he said, I can't figure out what that's all about, except maybe Elsa is just singing Let It Go. That's That's
Well,
exactly what Matt, Nerd of the Ring, said, and I wish he was here to make the joke himself. But
Oh,
the-
God.
the-
But like I saw that shot and I was like, did he just explode Barad-dûr into existence?
that is not Barad-dûr. So let's back this
Okay.
up.
How
so
do you know?
first off,
it's
let me
that
point.
other unnamed. It's the unnamed ice fortress from season 1.
It is named. It's called Durnost.
Durnost.
Ah.
Okay, it's
Ah.
called Durnost.
Mm.
Okay.
All right, so
Yeah.
if you look at this,
So it's the ice palace. Okay, that
there's
makes sense.
so we know for sure this is not ash and smoke. This is ice because the gold is getting frozen and the sound effect sounds like ice. So
Yeah.
this is definitely ice. You can see
Mhm.
the cliff faces ice over, and the
Mhm.
water freeze. So this is definitely getting iced. This is the This is just past the Helcarax, and you can see.
Is that so? That's where Galadriel and her group, where they went and they found
Yes,
the
this
remaining
is the opening
ice
scene.
troll and
Yeah, the ice troll, the first scene in the in
Okay.
season 1.
Okay, yeah, I see it. Yeah.
That's right.
So
yeah.
what we see here is before the clouds pick up, that this reminds us of Sauron's crown. If you notice, the light
right
is
there.
going straight up into the heavens. The light is going straight up into the heavens. And if you look closely, you can see a bunch of people. You have a bunch of people, or orcs or whatever, surrounding an altar here. This
Mhm.
is the fans
Oh,
in
yeah.
our Discord theorize. This is the moment that Adar kills Sauron, or Sauron figures out the Horcrux. And so the common theory in our Discord is this is when Adar kills Sauron, and we see the after effects in season 1. So this is a flashback, and you see the light of life of Sauron return to the heavens. This is the beacon of light speaking all the way to Eru, going straight up, saying we have destroyed Sauron and his light is gone.
and in the behind the scenes section, you see a different looking Adar in that sequence where because he's got longer hair and it's partially grayed, but it's definitely Adar because he's wearing the same armor and everything. And you can see ice around him and there's orcs around him. And so it must have been, we're getting a flashback of the confrontation between the two of them.
This is
It
definitely
could be.
a flashback.
It could be that here at Durnost, which was an invented place for the series, it doesn't come from the books, but it could be that at this particular fortress, Sauron, doing his dark magic experiments, his necromancy, it may be this is the moment where Adar kills Sauron, but I think it's equally as likely that this is a magic blast of one of Sauron's terrible magical experiments gone badly, very badly. In fact, it goes so badly that it blows up, it kills lots of orcs, and this is one of the reasons that Adar, as a character, is incited to break ranks and to foment rebellion against Sauron. So this might be one of the causations of that later incitement when Adar is like, I've had enough. You're killing all of us. You're not helping us as orcs.
Which is why it's interesting to
yeah.
see him leading a battle. And now I'm just wondering if he's leading a battle against Sauron or if he's back to
could be
being
it.
with him.
Yes,
You know, I was
good,
like,
very good. Very
Whose
good.
side is
Yeah,
he on?
Very good. Very good. Indeed.
So on this scene, Cliff, let's compare this to some of the leaks we heard. Is this Sauron birthing a son?
Sauron never births a son. That doesn't happen.
Does he
I don't
create
know.
a son?
I don't know what I need to do to make you read the books, Justin, but we've got to do something.
The leaks said Sauron has a son.
And that's one of the things that's
Yeah.
like, we're going to mess with you and we're going to say something that's so outrageous, Justin will believe it.
That Sauron has actual flesh and blood offspring. Okay.
Right. Yeah, that was
Alright.
part of those story.
Wait,
leaks,
I'm the
which-
only one that wants to see Sauron's son in season 2?
Yes,
No, that's
you're
the
the only
most
one,
awful
buddy.
idea.
You're the
You're the
only
only
one.
one. You are
Nobody else.
alone You are very much alone on
Anonymous
that.
girl is no, Justin, no.
Okay,
You're on a
right.
deserted island, my friend.
So the other leak that we had, Cliff, you want to respond to this? The leak was season 2 starts with Sauron retelling the same history as season 1, but from his perspective. Does this
Yes.
fall in line with that?
It does. This could very well be Sauron saying, "Oh, look at what happened when we were up at that fortress, Durnost." Yeah, it could very much fall into that. And
I was doing everything right, and then Adar
Yeah.
just messed it all up.
yeah, and who's the reliable narrator now? That's where we're at with that. Those
Yeah.
flashbacks might be very, very visual and edifying, but the audience, which is us, we have to discern who is the reliable narrator or not. Yes,
I can
but
confirm,
it is. What
I
can you
just wanna-
confirm?
I can
What?
confirm
What?
because I have a super high res version on my computer right now with the brightness all jacked up. Those are all orcs. Those are not humans.
Yep.
They are
Yep.
definitely orcs with the pointy ears and the bald heads.
Yep. Okay,
Stupid orcs touching what they shouldn't be touching.
and probably a reason for Adar to get really pissed off at Sauron's carelessness.
Yep.
Yeah,
So
but
what
a way to end the teaser with the big blasting shot like that. What a
well,
way
I want
to
to know
end the
from you
teaser.
guys that are lore experts,
great.
book experts. Does it make sense that Sauron as a Maiar or something, when if he dies, his light goes back up to Eru, heaven? Like what's going on here? Tell me some lore stuff that makes a pillar of light escaping from his corporal form.
I don't know if we can back up the visual effects team
Yeah.
wanting to make something look cool, and we can just back it up with lore. I
Right.
don't think
Yeah,
that we can
'cause-
reverse engineer that.
I
Justin.
mean, the only thing I can think of lore-wise that comes close to that is when Numenor gets destroyed and Sauron is caught up in the destruction. He loses his corporeal form and he turns into like kind of a spirit form that flies back to Mordor.
Is this a sign? Is this a signal to heaven that Eru needs to send the wizards back to Middle Earth? This pillar of
No.
light is a signal to say,
No.
I got to send the wizards back now because he's got
No, because Eru is not involved in any of this.
No.
I thought there's a fan theory that the wizards are sent back to Middle Earth at the behest of Eru to balance the growing evil.
That may be a fan theory, but I don't like it.
That it's not. No. Why did the
No.
wizards?
That
I
doesn't
always
seem-
thought the wizards, the Astari, weren't the Astari
They were sent by the
sent there
battle.
by,
They were sent-
there by somebody else? Manwë?
They were sent by Manwë, right?
No.
Yeah,
Why?
yeah. To combat Sauron.
So is this a pillar to Manwë?
Not necessarily. I mean, okay, so if we're talking about lore, when Saruman gets killed, you see his spirit, and it starts to drift towards the west, and then a wind comes and scatters it away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So there was no beam of light, and Saruman
His essence
is
was
sort of the
just-
same level as Sauron,
Mm-hmm.
technically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
that's pretty much what happened to Sauron when he, after the destruction of Numenor. It's just he was able to sort of guide his path.
The Istari were sent to work as proxies for the Valar, but why did the Valar need proxies? What was going? So I guess the question is, if this is when Sauron dies or he Horcruxes himself, is this the trigger moment where some other being recognizes that, oh, he's more powerful than we possibly imagined?
I mean, possibly, but I don't think that's like a direct message to them. It's like possibly like they saw it and were like, "Hey, we need to intervene." Because that's what they send the Astari to Middle Earth for, is to intervene with Sauron and keep him from gaining too much power.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And the whole thing that happened with Orome and the other Valar having a big meeting and discussing this all happened 1,000 years into the Third Age, long, long, long after these events that are depicted in
Right.
the Second Age, right?
Right.
So,
Right.
I mean, no, I mean they had this conversation about, some of them going to help and to be representation to know that the higher powers had not abandoned elves and men. But Justin, let's not try so hard to take a visual effect shot and to make it. I mean, it
Okay, I'm trying
doesn't.
too hard. I get it.
It's
Yeah,
okay. It doesn't.
It's like
It doesn't fit
it looks
with
It's
cool,
a
but like at the
cool
same time,
effect.
like sky
common
beams
concepts.
are a very common effect nowadays.
All right,
Yeah.
that's fair. That's fair.
It is a cool effect, and yes, you're right. Durnostic, that completely makes sense, and that we're doing a flashback because when you see in the behind the scenes things with Adar there as well, it makes perfect sense that that's particularly the spot where their showdown went down.
Let's look at the possibility that Adar never really kills Sauron. He tries to, but doesn't succeed. So
Mhm.
let's hold on to that as a
Yeah.
intellectual possibility
Yeah.
here
Speaking of,
Yeah.
in this story.
Sauron could
Yeah.
have just blown himself up with his, the Nutty
Yeah.
Professor. He mixed one thing too many, and went boom.
Yeah.
the light is just part of the
Are
transformation.
you trying to insinuate that Sauron doesn't know what he's doing? How dare you?
Experiments.
I wanted to show some of the internet reactions to this trailer today that we love to see. Let's bring it up on screen here. People recognizing that Celebrimbor had his hand blown off, and it says, "Welcome back, Maedhros, son of Feanor." Can someone
Nice.
explain
That's a
that
good
joke
one.
to me?
That's
Didn't he also lose a
really
hand?
good. That's a deep cut.
Yeah,
That's
that
a really
is
good deep cut.
literally, yeah.
No, explain the joke, please.
Okay. Okay. So the story with Maedhros is he attempted to treat with Morgoth after the second battle of the Silmarils, and basically both sides ended up double crossing each other. But Maedhros got captured. He was taken to Thangorodrim, which is the mountains that surround Angband, which is Morgoth's fortress, and he's chained by one hand to a cliff face. And the elves try to rescue him. They are finally able to get to him with the help of an eagle, but he's fastened to the cliff face so tightly that the only way they can rescue him is by cutting his hand off.
Yep.
And this
Bingo.
joke would have worked if it was Baron as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Right, but Maedhros is a relative of Celebrimbor, so it kind of works better as Maedhros.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so that's a deep cut, and this goes to show that if he did get his hand blown off, the writers and the showrunners are operating on a level of knowledge of deep cuts while still working within the limited rights that they have.
Mm-hmm. Which is very clever. Very clever.
Very clever.
Yeah.
This
Yeah,
other
good stuff.
we got another comment. This screenshot from the other video that we keep talking about that you can watch on Prime Video's YouTube. Just go to youtube.com/Prime Video and you can find it. This is a close-up of a behind-the-scenes of the Barrow Wights and what they look like. We talked about the shadows in the trailer, and this is a quote. "Their faces looked deathly pale. About them lay many treasures, of gold maybe, though in that light they looked cold and unlovely. On their heads were circlets, gold chains were about their waists, and on their fingers were many rings."
Well, I'm going to have to go
Mhm.
back and watch that behind the scenes because I don't remember seeing what
So
looks
there-
like the Witch King or the,
there you
the,
go.
um.
You
The
see that
king.
dude? He's near the end, right near the very end. You'll see him.
Okay.
Late breaking trends. House of the Dragon released a trailer today, but it barely edged Sauron. It just goes to show that Sauron, Anatar, and Rings of Power dominated the trends today, even though House of Dragon put forth a strong effort. Let's see what else.
The House of the Dragon trailer was pretty good. Gotta say, I'm pretty psyched.
Let's see here. Did we show that one? Oh, we showed that one. Likewise, within the lands of the birds of Numenor were beyond count, from the Kirinki to the great eagles that were held sacred to Manwë, and never afflicted, till the days of evil and the hatred of the Valar begin.
Mm-hmm. That's a nice unfinished tales deep cut. I'm
Yep.
glad that Daily Rings of Power grabbed that. That was good. That's a
Can
good
someone
observation.
explain that to me? What are you talking about? Until the hatred of the Valar? Is that like?
Well, because, in the first season of Rings of Power, all the men of Numenor seem to hate the elves. They seem to have hatred towards the elves, but the real conversation is about them having hatred and distrust of the Valar. So, there you go. If you're going to have a messenger, a great eagle, who is a herald of Manwë, and, the great Lord of the Valar, for lack of a better phrase, then what better way to
He
show?
was King of the Valar. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. And I knew my phrasing wasn't quite right, but
Mhm.
this is the best way to show Pharazôn have complete spiritual contempt for the
Mhm.
Valar.
Yeah.
So that's what that's about.
Yeah.
Is this why
And
people
we're gonna need to
think
wrap
he's
up
going
pretty
to
soon.
kill that eagle?
He's gonna try.
He's gonna
He's
try.
going to try. I don't think he's going to succeed.
Yeah.
If he does, especially in season 2, if the timeline is correct that the fall of Numenor will happen in season 4 or 5, like him killing an eagle, like that would be super catastrophic
That's shots fired.
Okay.
Yeah.
against
All
Manwë and against the Valar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
They
think they
think
can ignore that.
Yeah.
Pharazôn and all the men who become the king's men hate the Valar and resent that they're not given immortality. It's not about elves coming to take their jobs. It's
Mhm.
about the Valar not giving the men of Numenor immortality.
It's
That is
about
the
immortality,
schism.
and it's about being
Yeah.
barred from Valinor.
Yep, that's the schism. That's what it's all about.
Oh, I like this one.
I just wanted to point out, we tweeted, as many as thousands of others did, we tweeted out season 2 teaser trailer, and this guy Mike Arameos said, "I think I spotted Elrond. Very exciting." That is proud papa of Elrond himself. That is Robert
Yes.
Arameo's dad, who is subtweeting
nice.
the OneRing.net. Thank you for your follow, Mike
Nice.
Arameo, and I hope Elrond's dad comes to Comic-Con because I just want to hang out with this dude. He seems cool.
He
Yeah.
is the coolest.
Arendelle
He's cool.
says, bound up her hair as a crown when taking part in athletic feats. And boom, you see it in the
Nice.
trailer.
That's cool.
Yeah, nice details. Very nice details.
The
And-
showrunners give us that, at least they're getting the details right. I mean, she's supposed to be about 1.5 feet taller, but
Yeah, they're getting all this, and then they're gonna pull a Tom Bombadil is actually Morgoth thing on us.
I hope that one's not true.
In
that
Unfinished
better not be true.
Tales, Tolkien describes Celebrimbor, desperate, himself withstood Sauron on the steps of the great door of the Myrdain, but he was grappled and taken captive, and the house was ransacked.
Yep,
Yep, that
That's
tracks.
coming. Yep.
yep.
Are you telling me that they recreated a whole passage from Unfinished Tales without the license? But they can do
Nope.
that.
We're not telling you that.
Maybe they got it.
They're
Yeah.
leaning in. Maybe
Yeah.
they did get it, and maybe they're just trying to lean into the stuff that is best and most recognizable within the DNA of Unfinished Tales.
Yeah,
But,
I mean, like that's just like visual details, really. Like that's not like
Yeah.
something you need to get license rights for.
All right.
Yeah.
And-
The
and then-
quote is obviously just a quote from there, but the
Mhm.
image, it could be any steps anywhere, and therefore it could be the Myrdain. It could be,
Mm,
And then finally, this was taken from the new logo that they debuted yesterday in the ramp up to the teaser, and then we see the same logo, the O in Rings of Power, has this little mark. I think I might be reading too much into it, but fans do what we do best. And they looked at Halbrand's pouch, and it kind of looks like a wolf's Halbrand's pouch, which relates to the scroll that Galadriel finds about the history of the kings of the Southlands. And that matches up with the logo on Halbrand's pouch, and that's why she thinks Halbrand is the king of the Southlands. If you look at the right edge of that wolf's head logo, and then you look at the ring in the logo, the Rings of Power, we might be seeing the introduction of the corruption of the title itself.
Oh,
under
indeed.
control of Sauron.
That's intriguing.
So there you
That's
go, folks.
intriguing.
Particularly since he's holding a symbol that represents a family that he's not actually part of because they died. That the line of those kings died out, which is what the scroll says.
Well, we've done it, folks. We've done it again. We've been doing it for 25 years. We've been doing trailer shot-by-shot analysis. Before there was YouTube, we used to take screenshots and describe them in detail and then post them on a blog. And now we can do this live with all of you in the chat room on all these different platforms. We appreciate
This is so much easier.
For you it is. You don't understand the stress I'm on and how many screens I have up right now.
Oh, I'm sure.
I
I've
do
even
understand.
got an iPad running the trailer. So,
Yo, my God, that's a lot of connections and a lot of extra materials. Yes.
Yeah.
but it's been wonderful to have everybody here. Kathy, of course, Josh from Torn Book Club, Jason Charles Miller, friend of the show, and Clifford Broadway. As always, bringing the best analysis we can. We cannot, I think we debated, how much energy to put today toward the trailer because there was so much news just all over. But I'm glad that we spent 2.5 hours now dissecting this trailer.
We never even got to the Lego Barad-dûr that was announced today.
Oh my
Guess
gosh.
what? There's a big, beautiful Lego Barad-dûr coming out, and people are going to buy it at the Lego store and sell it for jacked up prices on eBay. That's what's going to happen.
I need
There you
stuff
go.
to talk about
I'm gonna
next
buy
week.
it. I'm going to build it. I'm going to display it proudly.
It's
Yes, very good.
$450 for a Lego Barad-dûr.
Yes,
My
but it
goodness.
That's
looks
how much
glorious.
I spent on Rivendell, and I will do it again.
But all the proceeds go to Sauron. So
Yay!
Yay.
Funny. All right.
Hey, thank you all for joining us, and thanks to Matt Nerd of the Rings for joining in. He did an amazing. He cranked out in less than a few hours. He watched the trailer at the same time we all did, and then he went into the edit bay and cranked out this awesome, wonderful analysis that is 20 minutes long, not 2.5 hours long. But this is why we're the OneRing.net. We leave no stone unturned.
Yes, indeed. Well, it is exciting and it's really delightful. And we're in such a position now as Tolkien fandom. We've got so much going on.
Oh my
it's
God,
really
yes.
exciting. Really exciting.
Comic-Con is going to be insane.
I'll say it'll be
Sure.
awesome.
I mean, oh my God. Real quick, Justin, Cliff, Josh, would you guys please send me little notes, your own little ideas? Because I'm doing a post for
What we just talked about.
reactions.
Oh, the actual
Everything you just
text.
talked about.
Yeah.
You guys can just put broad strokes. I got a little crazy and did a shot by shot.
Yeah.
But and then
Okay.
and Justin, do you happen to have the assets? Kirsten tried to send me the link to the
We
the
can work
assets
on
for
all
the photos.
all that stuff. We don't need to burden our audience with logistics
know.
and posting and
Yeah,
things like
we're still
that.
live.
But
We
I didn't want
we
you
talk
guys to
about
just
it
sign off and disappear. So
But you know what? The reason we keep doing this live because the chat room is half of the energy. It's everybody here, but it's also the chat room, and we love seeing all of you and your opinions. And we love that you did some fact checks and you brought up things. So thanks to everybody on Twitter and X and Twitch and YouTube and Facebook and, of course, our Discord. If you want to be part of the conversation that it comes in hot and heavy and it's active every single day, we're on Discord. Just search for the One Ring Net on Discord. You'll find our server, and there's nearly 10,000 fans. We posted with 200,000 posts last year. I mean, it is so active there, and it's just wonderful. Jason, before we let you go, where can folks find you? You got any tour dates coming up or anything?
Yeah, JasonCharlesMiller.com. If you live in the LA area, I'm actually playing a concert this Sunday at Warner Park in Woodland Hills. It's during the day. It's the cancer benefit for the Ronnie James Dio Cancer Foundation.
Oh, wow. So cool. That is so cool.
After that, I sing a lot of songs on the Final Fantasy XIV soundtrack. So I will be performing at Final Fantasy Fan Fest in China and also Yokohama, Japan. And then look for a U.S. tour in between those two dates. So lots of things happening coming up.
Wow.
So JasonCharlesMiller.com, or you can find me, Jason Charles Miller, anywhere on social media.
Multi-cities in China? Different cities in China?
Just in Guangzhou, which is near Hong Kong. All the concerts are happening.
Guangzhou, yeah.
Dan in the chat room says, met Jason 11 years ago at a con. So,
nice.
You got fans.
Yeah. Oh, I'm going to be at MomoCon in 2 weeks in Atlanta.
Well, that's cool. Great. That'd be great. And well done. I'm so glad to see you so engaged and working and doing these cool things. You have endlessly cool things going on in your life, man.
I would be remiss if I didn't. Yeah, there was one more thing I should mention. Sorry, because there's a brand new series on Netflix. It's an anime series called The Grimm Variations, and they're sort of modern takes on the Grimm fairy tales, and my voice is in 3 episodes of that as well. So that's the last current thing I have.
Awesome.
Amazon and Warner Brothers, if you're listening, he's available for work, voice acting. You can find him at all the websites he just said.
And also, if you're listening, so is Clifford Broadway, who just got an expensive microphone and has a home studio now built so that I'm getting my voiceover demos out too.
I need to hear Clifford narrate some things for sure.
My God, I would love that. I would love that. Andy Serkis keeps beating me to the best jobs, though. So the best jobs.
Yeah.
He does. Yeah. But I love you folks. Love you guys for being with us. And welcome to the 8:31 p.m. mark when we started at 5. So 3.5 hours later, we now say good night and good luck. You can find me, QuickBeam2000, on Instagram and Twitter, and heaven knows we're going to get you there. We've got more news and analysis coming up in the future weeks, and it's a great time to be a Tolkien fan, isn't it? Aren't we lucky to be here?
I can't wait for Comic-Con.
It's right around the corner.
Comic-Con.
It's right around the corner. So good night to Josh and Kathy and Jason Charles and to Justin and to our beautiful audience who has been with us so faithful. And you are more faithful than the faithful, Numenorians. Thanks for being with us, and take good care of yourselves. Be gentle with one another, as I plan on doing with myself. Going to be gentle. And we'll see you guys next week, 5 p.m., again, for Torn Tuesday. Until then, buenos noches y buena suerte. Good night and good luck.